Welcome back. It's Beyond the Box Score. I'm Dan Schneier. That's Jacob Gibbs. And today is our holiday mailbag episode. I am very excited for this one, Jacob. I love doing mailbag episodes. It's something that we run regularly on my other podcast. And I love them because it gets to dive a little deeper into not just fantasy and what we can provide on that front. Not that we're providing much on this other front, but it dives into our personalities. Maybe our personalities are controversial like mine, or maybe it's just like Jacob's, just a chill guy, just trying to get along, not have a lot of hot takes. Just so those know, I will defend my takes today. A few of you in the comments, we got some questions that challenge some of my takes, and I will defend them to the death. But I love mailbag shows, Jacob, because it's not just about football. It's about the fun, and it's about the community that we built here at Beyond the Box Score. So thank you so much to everyone who sent a question in to Jacob or myself on Twitter. Thank you to anyone who sent a question or a review on iTunes and Spotify. No new questions, but we do have some new reviews. So thank you for that. And thank you to everybody who supported the show in our first year as we're trying to get off the ground and get things rolling, Jacob. So, whoa, I see the new name, Vacation Jake. Is this what we're calling a vacation, just working out of the Florida office?
I was on vacation this past weekend, and then this upcoming weekend, I'm going over to Tampa to visit my buddy. So I'm out here. I've been riding an e-bike all around town. Like I'm getting some sun. I'm feeling a little bit vacation vibes.
I love it. All right. And so just so those who don't know, if you didn't get a chance to send us a question that you want answered on our Twitters or on Spotify or iTunes, you can leave comments and questions in the chat. So throw it in the chat, throw a question up there. We will try to star them as we go and then get to as many as we can once we get to that section of the show. But best way to do a mailbag is just get right back into it. Or right into it, I should say. So let's start off with a fun one, Jacob. And it's from Eddie Cook, loyal listener of the show. He wants to know, give us your top 5, Jacob, must-see movies.
Mm-hmm.
These are movies you haven't seen yet, you really want to see, and you just haven't had a chance to. His example is he's never seen Casablanca. He wants to see that. He's never seen It's a Wonderful Life. He wants to see that. Dumb and Dumber, Shawshank Redemption. Man, Eddie, you've never seen Shawshank? And then About Time. Those are his 5. You have a 5.
So I didn't take it this way at all in terms of it being movies that they haven't seen. I don't see anywhere in the question like where it says that.
Top 5 must-see movies. Oh, is it kind of just saying what he thinks you have to see? I got you.
That's how I read it. Was
this
like
is what happens on Mailbag sometimes.
If an alien came here or whatever, and you were like, here are 5 movies, you got to see these ones. But the other side of it's interesting too. I'm curious, like especially for you, because you apparently have so many gaps in your movie repertoire that I would love to hear some of the ones that you haven't seen. But yeah, I gave this a little bit of thought over my lunch break, and it's obviously really hard to come up with 5, especially for me. As much as I love rankings, I have a really hard time ruling any of these out. But I'm really curious which of these you've seen. So I'm going with Lord of the Rings. Like that's the first thing that came to my head before conferring with any lists or anything like that. And I try to get like a little bit of everything with my 5. And so Lord of the Rings is like, obviously, visually it's cool. The story is really cool. The lore is really cool. And the acting's amazing. But also like the underlying stuff that's going on there, like a lot of the themes in Lord of the Rings, the archetypes in Lord of the Rings and stuff like that are just like so classic and good. There's a reason it's so popular. You know what I mean? It's like just, in my opinion, one of the best stories ever. But it's 3 movies. So I didn't know what you thought on that. If I can cheat and have 3 movies as one of my submissions.
Make you pick your favorite of the 3. You can't just say, "Oh, Lord of the Rings."
All right, that's good. And it's tough because they're all really, really good. I think if I were just giving one to somebody like as one of their 5 they have to see, it would be Return of the King.
Okay.
For me, my favorite of that is actually Fellowship. I just love the vibe so much at the beginning of the story. Have you seen Lord of the Rings?
I have seen it, but like in parts. So like I've seen it so long ago since I saw it. Also, like not always like I didn't watch it I didn't watch 1, 2, 3, so I don't really know the story that well. Seen some big battle scenes. I don't know why. I bet I would love Lord of the Rings. I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan. I was like head first into all of the Game of Thrones during it, reading the lore, watching lore stuff. Like I don't know what it is. It was long. I think I was before the time I was into that type of genre. Because I was a kid during Lord of the Rings, and Thrones was like in my college years. So I have to give it another chance. It's a long arduous,
It's
like
long.
I have to do it at some point. I don't know when that will be, but that's a good pick. I think that's fair for must see. You got to see Lord of the Rings trilogy. What else would be in there for you? Because I'm going to answer the question in both ways.
Okay, so if we couldn't go with Lord of the Rings, a similar type of pick was going to be The
You
Lion
can.
King. Do you have
Oh,
anything animated?
Lion King's epic. What would be my favorite animated movie of that genre, of that like good feel genres? Toy Story 1 is still, and people say Toy Story 3 is the best. I still think Toy Story 1 is up there. That would be probably would that be my favorite animated movie? I also like that movie when they did recently where it's like all the emotions in somebody's head. What's it called? Up or something like that, or Down, or one of these things. It might be
There's a movie called Up. Is that with the
not
floating
Up.
house and stuff? Is that what
Up
you're
was
talking about?
good too. I watched Up. Up was good too. What was that movie? It's something.
Okay.
The chat, help us out here. Help us out.
The chat's generally loving this so far, I think, and then there's somebody who's just like Parkinson.
Inside
I'm
Out.
so
That's what it's called. Inside Out. Parkinson. Let's go. We can get to
like,
football questions as well. There's a
yeah,
bunch
we're
on
definitely
here.
gonna do some football stuff too.
Don't worry. This is
Inside
gonna
Out. I
go.
haven't seen Inside Out. I'm gonna
Okay.
make note.
Inside Out. Yeah, that's probably my favorite of the animated genre, or at least of that like Disney. I don't know if it's even Disney, but just like toy, Pixar, whatever genre.
Cool.
Yeah, what else would be on your list of must see? Because I can answer this question both ways.
Okay. So I thought one that you might have. I was like, if we're gonna have any that are the same, I think Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind might be on here.
Oh
I've
yeah,
heard you mention
Eternal Sunshine
it
of the Spotless
before.
Mind is on there.
I think that that's a good one. It wouldn't be that high for me. I would actually go Truman Show over that if I were giving something
Love
that's
Truman
just
Show
kind of,
too.
Jim Carrey acting weirdness and all the kind of existential stuff and everything, a bit of a thinker. Like I think I would lean towards that. But I don't think Eternal Sunshine is as popular as the Truman Show, and I'm curious if you could kind of tell people why that would be so high for you.
Yeah, I mean, both are high for me. They're both my kind of movie. That like weird, think about, gets you thinking type of movie. I really reason that I like Eternal Sunshine so much is it's so different and unique. Like nothing at that time had been nothing like that had been explored in TV or cinema at the time. Like this idea of you can erase your memory. I don't want to give away too much of the movie in case people haven't seen it, but without doing that, in addition to the idea being really cool of what they did in the movie to like and how it interacts with like your relationships with people, love, that type of thing. The acting was unbelievable. Jim Carrey was unbelievable in that. Like there's just unbelievable acting throughout that entire movie. So that would be in my top 5 of like must see. Obviously I've seen it, so it's not like what I have to see, but it's in there. And the chat is putting in Memento. Have you seen Memento? That's up there for me.
Nope, I have not. Thank you,
Memento
chat.
is a movie you should definitely watch. I would venture upon saying, without having seen it, Memento is a better movie than Rocky. But we're not going to do that right now. We're not going to get back into that right now. What else you got for me?
All right, this one's off the wall, man. I wanted some old ones in here because I don't think you can just like erase stuff from before our time. You know what I mean? Like not think about it. And so 2 classics for me, and the one that I would choose is The Sound of Music. Have you seen the freaking Sound of Music?
I have not. I bet
Oh
it's
my
amazing.
gosh, dude. It's very slow for sure, but like it's so, so, so good. And the other one I would go with, and as we're holiday here right now, this time of year, It's a Wonderful Life. Have you seen that? It's literally
I
black
have
and
seen
white.
It's a Wonderful Life. Love It's a Wonderful Life.
So good. Yeah.
Amazing.
I don't think
Could watch that
the
all.
Sound of Music is maybe quite as compelling from a story standpoint, but visually absolutely stunning. The music is phenomenal. The acting is really good. They're both so good.
Yeah. All right. It's a good list. You got anything else for me?
That's 3. Number 4 would be The Matrix. If I'm going with something in that vein, something a little bit darker, something that gets you thinking. I chose The Matrix, and then The Dark Knight and Fight Club are 2 others that are like kind of similar, but I think The Matrix is my favorite of that group.
Yeah. I mean, these are all movies that are on my, not maybe this top 5, but in my like top 10, top 15, top 20. The Matrix one, I rewatched with my brother recently, like a half year ago. It was so freaking good. The Matrix one. It's actually like, it's crazy to think how not only awesome it is, how prescient it like a lot of what we're seeing, it's like, oh, weird. Like, are we in the Matrix? I don't know, because some weird stuff playing out here in this reality we supposedly live in. Just joking, kind of.
But I know, man. I feel like I'm going to give The Matrix and Truman Show to whoever this is, this alien, and they're going to be messed up in the brain for a little while after this list of 5. My fifth one My fifth one, I went with just two of my favorites. So this is actually like a list of 10, sorry. But I wanted to have like an honorable mention if you want, if you didn't like
Okay.
this one, then maybe try this one. Or if you did really like this one, but you haven't seen the other one, then maybe try that one. So One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is obviously a classic.
Awesome.
It's Jack. It's another one that's a bit wacky and gets you thinking a little bit. And I wanted to ask you, have you seen Awakenings? That was my honorable mention. I
No,
just saw it for the first time this past year. It's
no.
Robin Williams and it's De Niro, and it's really, really good. I'll just leave it at that. That's my five.
That's an amazing five. I'm just laughing at the comment section. Kitchen Toothbrush, who is an excellent commenter, and a throwback to Adam brushing his teeth in the kitchen of his own house. Said a list of 10 when asked for a list of 5 is right up Dan's alley. He's so right. I don't stick to the parameters of these ever. The chat is lighting it up with great movies. This is such a tough
Yeah.
question to narrow it down for top 5. Like the ones I have to see, that's how I prepared. That I know. That's easy to do. I'm going to give those out. We'll start with the ones I have to see. We'll start with Rocky 1. I have to see Rocky 1. It's been battled. It's been beleaguered. This point has been beleaguered for good reason. It's not even a word. I don't know why I said it, but belabored. Is that even a word? Probably not. We'll move on. So I got to see Rocky 1. I also want to see 12 Angry Men. A friend of mine is on this this really cool app for tracking like what movies you've watched. I forgot what it's called now, but I'll remember it and bring it back at the end of the show. And it like kind of sorts through the best movies. And that was just a movie I've skipped over. And I've heard it's really good. The original 12 Angry Men. I also want to really watch. That's on first. So Rocky and 12 Angry Men. I have to watch both. I need to see Apocalypse Now. I've never seen it. My brother finally just watched it on his own. And he was like, dude, you have to see this. My dad's always been saying you have to see Apocalypse Now. I didn't even realize it was like a different kind of take on war, which I think could be really awesome. And it has like kind of a more, not funny vibe, but like a different vibe to a take on wartime stuff and an actual war. So Apocalypse Now is number 3 for me. I have to see that. So 12 Angry Men, Apocalypse Now, Rocky 1. I also need to see Alien 1 because I want to watch the new series on Netflix, the Alien series. It's completely right up my alley, but I need to see the movies first to understand where I'm at with that. So those are like top 4. And then the 5th one that I just have to see on my list of things I haven't seen is Silence of the Lambs. Obviously, one of the best movies of all time. I've never seen it for some weird reason, just mostly because I don't watch any movies. So Silence of the Lambs, that's my top 5 of what I have seen. Now, 5 of what I would say must see for people who haven't seen that you haven't mentioned already. And it's hard to narrow down. But I will start with my favorite Wes Anderson movie. My favorite Wes Anderson movie by far is Grand Budapest Hotel. I think that's his best movie. I just found it so phenomenal. Start to finish, just puts you in such a great vibe the entire time. So that's one for me, must-see movie. I'm going to change it up for my second. If you haven't seen it, you should see it movie. Rounders. Now, some people might hear that and be like, did you just say Rounders in this range? You just mentioned Grand Budapest Hotel. You said Rounders. Yes, I did say Rounders. And you don't need to be a poker fan to love Rounders. I promise you'll love Rounders if you know nothing about poker or if you love poker like me and you know the grind, because it's got everything you want. It's got Damon. It's got Totoro, who's unbelievable and playing the role of like a grinder poker player. Obviously, it has Edward Norton, who plays one of the best roles in the movie, Worm. You watch that movie and you love that movie. I promise you will love that movie. Just that's all I can say on that. I don't want to give away too much when I tell these movies. So that's 2. Grand Budapest, that must see movies. I mean, the chat's mentioned a few that I've watched and love. Memento. I would say Godfather 1 and 2 are just must see movies. Honestly, they're long, but they're amazing. And if you're a Sopranos fan, if you like that genre, go ahead, watch it. You'll have a great time. What else can I throw in there as my must-sees? You said Matrix. I love that one. I said 7 on the other podcast. I mean, that's a one-time watch, but because once you know it. Same thing with like Usual Suspects, but I put that in there. Gladiator 1, unreal movie. That's up there for me. I'm just looking through the list of I put a bunch in here. Ooh, there's some tough ones too. Like there's 2 movies that I would say maybe are in a must-see range, but I would never want to see them again. So that's Requiem for a Dream. I've never felt more depressed about my life than after watching Requiem for a Dream. I remember exact moment of where I was when I watched it. It was my freshman year in college. I watched it on my laptop. I closed the laptop. It was 2 a.m. and I was just sitting and staring at my ceiling for a good 35 minutes, thinking about life and just oh my God, that was so depressing. Requiem for a Dream, but it's a must watch at the same time. And the other one I would put in there is American History X. That's another one that's like must watch, but super dark, and you maybe not want to watch it again. All right. I think we covered that one pretty well. The next one we're going to get into has some fantasy implications. So I think that's going to be fun for the listeners who aren't as into movies. So Eddie Cook, who gets a lot of questions in, and we never put a limit on it. You want to ask a lot of questions, you're going to get them answered. He says, what has been your biggest miss and your biggest hit to this point in the fantasy season? The good thing about this question is, Jacob, we have the receipts. You can go back and find our episodes from the summer and know that if we're saying something is a hit, we actually can back it up with video evidence.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I feel like one of my biggest misses was Brian Thomas Jr.
Okay.
I felt like he was nearly can't miss, and that was way too much confidence, given all of the newness of the situation there in Jacksonville, new coach, Travis Hunter coming in, and also like a bunch of projecting like what BTJ could do, that he could fill this Mike Evans type of role where he's not just win on the perimeter, but he's also somebody who can win over the middle and stuff like that. That he could do a lot of the stuff that worked last year for Liam Cohen's offense that we hadn't seen a ton of really. And also we didn't see him succeed with Trevor Lawrence that much. So I feel bad about that one, because I remember as we were getting into the draft process, I kept looking at like Amon-Ra St. Brown on paper and being like, this is clearly a better profile to bet on. And I know it. And I'm just like so enamored with what BTJ could be. But it's the stupid, like, what's in the box thing where it's like, he could even be like Amon-Ra St. Brown for fantasy. It's like, we already know what he is. I had some concerns about Ben Johnson leaving the offense in Detroit, but really that was way too aggressive, I feel like. In the same way that, like Ashton Genty or something like that, maybe it was way too aggressive. I wasn't super high on him necessarily. I was about right with consensus. But it's like, it's too much guessing, and we're kind of like the upside is priced in at this point. You know what I mean? Like it's different than like Jackson Smith and Jigba, who I really liked, but you weren't taking him at the round 1-2 turn. You were taking him at like the 2-3 turn, or even into the third round. JSN. I just feel like I really got too bullish on him and Neighbors to some extent. Neighbors
one I won't say because
probably would have been fine.
Yeah,
sure, yeah. But really the reason, so I said I knew that Amon-Ra St. Brown was better on paper than those guys is because we've got a lot of research on year 2 receivers, and year 2 receivers rarely are the league winners that you need, because it takes time to get established into a functional offensive environment that can facilitate the type of like massive production that we're getting from, JSN in year 3, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like it normally comes later. It takes some time for like a receiver who's drafted really, really early for their offense to become that good. And I think I just got a little too enamored with the upside on how good those guys were as rookies.
It's interesting because I like that the way you phrase it, like what's in the box surprise. And that was the case with BTJ and Neighbors. You're almost buying on the talent. And in some ways, at least with BTJ, the late season production from his rookie year, which was, again, as you mentioned, in a different system and with a different quarterback, versus Amon-Ra St. Brown, same quarterback, not same system technically, but essentially the same system, just different play caller, proven commodity. And that was a big debate. And the same thing went for Puka, right? Like Puka, a player who fell to like the end of round 1-2. Some people took Neighbors and BTJ over him in some of the drafts I was in. Like people were scared of him. Obviously, the Stafford injury played a role there. So that's an interesting call. What about your biggest hit? And then we'll get into my biggest miss and biggest hit.
Biggest hit is probably like, I feel like it's hard to say Pickens because of the way that things have panned out.
It's still a hit, still a massive.
It definitely was. Yeah, we were really high on Pickens. For all I just said about Brian Thomas Jr., I was lower on him. I was lower on Neighbors than Drake London, and I think that was a really massive hit until he got hurt, because he was getting drafted after all those guys. I really haven't thought that much about this, so I'm going to keep looking around. I guess like you could say Olave and players like that were big hits.
I would say Olave is your biggest hit. I'm just on a pure value-based standpoint, right? Where you can get Olave in drafts. I was saying it during our draft season. Like I got him for $4 in an auction. It was very simple to get Olave. Nobody wanted to bid on him. Simply put, like his name got brought up and you'd hear crickets in the room. And he's obviously produced way higher than that value. I think he's probably been a is he borderline wide receiver 1 this year with his landscape that we're at? I don't know if he's top 12, but he's
Yeah.
got to be up there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I
was
say for
aggressive on
me,
HN. Always.
HN, you were
Always.
aggressive on Drake May. Somebody said in the chat that was obviously
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
favorite quarterback value. So we both hit on that, but that felt like a pretty easy hit.
Oh,
I'll start
freaking
with my
Tucker
misses.
Kraft.
Yeah. Yeah. Tucker
That was a
Kraft.
massive hit. Like Tucker Kraft, Scadaboo, those are both guys that I really liked. And then it's just like,
Yeah.
dang.
But then we lose them because of the injuries.
Mm.
So it's hard to, it's a fantasy. You can't fight through injuries. I'm trying to think like, we love Nico. Both of us, I think, had him super highly ranked, and he looked like a miss, and then he became a hit for us. The chat says Ken Walker was a major L. I think you were high on Walker, but you weren't like super high on Walker. You weren't saying like go draft him no matter what. So I'm not going to put that in there. I'll start with my misses, and then I'll get to it.
I had him above James Cook. I hate that.
Yeah, don't never disrespect my boy James Cook again. Start with my misses. The first miss I want to talk about is a miss that ended up hitting. And so that one is Travis Etienne. And the reason why Travis Etienne I would put as my biggest miss is because I didn't follow, it's hard for me to I wanted to follow the path of Liam Cohen. I believe in his scheme and I believe in what he can do in the run game. What stopped me up with Travis Etienne, I think is one of the best hits in fantasy overall this year, is one, I didn't believe in their offensive line and I didn't believe in their ability to block the run. I've now learned since, like, you have to take more seriously what these coordinators and coaches scheming up the run game are doing to create space in there. Like even now, like the Giants run game with Kafka versus Dable is a whole night and day thing. We're actually generating yards before contact. We're creating lanes for these running backs that we never created. And it's just via scheme. The players are the same on the offensive line. So that's the first one. And my lesson learned from that is like, look, if I believe in an offensive system and a play caller coming over, believe in the parts, because ETN was the best part of that backfield. I got scared because I did like Bigsby a lot, and that's really what killed me. I believed in Bigsby's talent, but ETN was the guy who had a top 3 season at the collegiate level in forced missed tackle rate, right? He was the guy who came over to the NFL and had a dominant season like that, where the metrics were great and the yards were great. And they did it again. And yeah, he played hurt last year in 2024. And I feel like all of us were weighing that heavily into our evaluation of him as a player. Now, I'm not so sure that should have been the case. So that would be the first miss for me. The second miss I want to bring up, and there are a few in here. Steven says JSN was my biggest miss. That's fine. I did have reservations for JSN and that entire Seattle offense. So I'll take the miss on JSN for sure. Don't have him anywhere. But the second miss I want to put in here for me is one that I did draft a lot of, not one that I skipped like the ETN miss. And that's Brock Bowers, because I'm heavily overweighted with Bowers. I have 2 teams going into the semis right now with Bowers. It just doesn't feel good to have him on my roster. And I wasted so much capital in trying to get him. In both instances, it was viewed in my standpoint when I did it. It was 2 auction leagues, one for $20, one for $21. We went over it. Remember, we did the episode where we went over the auction, Jacob. We went over it, and I was getting him for cheaper than these RB2 types and these down the board wide receivers. Bowers was going cheaper than them, but so was McBride. And I didn't diversify. I didn't really factor in the quarterback situation enough with Bowers. I didn't factor in the fact that last year the system was designed almost entirely around Bowers. This year, that system was never going to be designed around Bowers. Yes, Chip Kelly had some success in his past with tight ends, but he never designed a system to focus and feature the tight end position specifically. And then finally, their low implied point total going into the year of the Raiders. They were expected to be one of the worst offenses in the NFL, and they became one of the worst. I should have factored them in more to my ceiling with a player like Bowers. All I really leaned on, Jacob, was my belief in his talent. And in my mind, I was like, do I really want to pass up at this cost a player who I think can be a top 10 overall player in the NFL? The answer is yes. Sometimes you have to do it. You have to do it sometimes when the talent and the situation around them is just not there. And that's the case for Bowers. The situation is not there. I know the injury played a factor too, but it's not the only factor in his bust case. Then finally, short and sweet, my biggest hit by far is James Cook. Obviously, you can go back to the Flan Flag show where I said it. I had him at RB6 overall before the year. I don't think anyone even had him in their top 10 at RB. I just didn't really understand the bust case for Cook. It was based on the idea that the touchdowns will come down and he's not in on every snap. It's like, no, not really, because a lot of these touchdowns were from big distance because he's just one of the best players in the NFL at the running back position. is how I viewed it. And that's kind of how it's played out. He's been one of the best players in the running back at the NFL. So that's kind of it for me on misses and hits. I have a lot more misses, though, I think, that we can get to at some point.
He's RB6 on the year, man. Great call.
There we go. It was a perfect pick. All right. And then Pickens was a hit for us, but he's obviously faded a little. And there were definitely a lot more hits if we wanted to get into that, but we don't need to brag on this show. Let's get into Strictly Sports, who asks, how much are you trusting Drake London if he plays? I got a PPR question for you. I need to start one. I got London, Michael Wilson. By the way, I have the same exact situation as you, Strictly Sports. I have London, Michael Wilson, Rashee Rice, and Mike Evans in a league. Need to start 3. Rashee in concussion protocol. Marvin Harrison Jr. practicing again. Oh, no. He's got Jennings, too. He needs one of those, and then he needs a running back out of Genty, Aaron Jones, and Blake Corum.
Okay, yeah. Do you have any feel on London? I mean, you're definitely Michael Wilson over him, and then Jennings is probably safer.
So as I said kind of 2 shows ago to you, Jacob, I'm just not benching Michael Wilson rest of way. Even if Marvin Harrison Jr. comes back, I love Michael Wilson. I believe in the talent. I believe he's just one of the best performing players in the NFL right now. I don't want to bench him. So he won't be benched. I think I'd play London over Jennings, though, even with the Pearsall injury, just for it's my fantasy semifinals. I want the upside of Drake London and what he can provide for me and what he's done in the past. I mean, I think I mentioned it on the last week's show. There's only been 2 players this year who have 2 wide receiver 1 finishes on a weekly basis. London was one of those players. He has that kind of upside. So while I think the ceiling will be a little bit more capped without Penix driving the football, I think Cousins look good, man. I thought Cousins looked good last week against Tampa. So I'll roll with London in a controlled environment in a good matchup. From a weather standpoint, a good matchup there. And for the running back one,
I've got some Cousins stats. I want to give these to you.
Okay, yeah. Let's throw some Cousins stats.
Some Cousins stats and some Trevor Lawrence stats, too. I've been thinking about your quarterback conundrum since we talked yesterday. Also, I don't know if weather is relevant at all this week. I've looked into it, and it's like just pretty warm everywhere. Like there's a few games that are 30.
Okay.
But yeah, even in like Chicago, and it doesn't look like it's that cold this week.
Love it.
Okay, so Cousins. I've got is games of 200 or more catchable air yards. We've talked about this on here before. I wanted to point out for Lawrence that only Matthew Stafford has more of these games than him on the year. So Justin Herbert, and Caleb Williams each have 3 games where they've provided 200 or more catchable air yards. Drake May and Jordan Love have 4. Dak Prescott has 5. Lawrence has 6. And Stafford has 8. Stafford's just been so good. And so this to me is a quarterback stat, but it's also like a stat that's relevant for the pass catchers in the offense. You know, how functional is the offense overall? Cousins has actually been pretty freaking good. Like he's topped out at 227. So I don't think he gives you maybe quite as much upside, to scale this all the way up, but he did get up to 227 in his last game. And as a starter, he's averaged 152, which isn't, in that Lawrence range,
right?
But it would be top 12 on the year, like ahead of Jared Goff, ahead of Baker Mayfield. And another thing I noticed was he's 3rd in highly accurate throw rate on throws of 10 or more air yards this year out of 38 qualifiers. And he's 9th overall in highly accurate throw rate, not only on throws of 10 or more air yards. So I do think we see him sometimes turn down some of those deeper throws. I don't know if he can quite drive it like he used to, but when he's decided to, he's been pretty accurate, pushing the ball down the field. So I feel all right about London. I feel pretty good about Kirk Cousins. And on the Lawrence thing, the more I've thought about it, I feel pretty good about starting him. I know it's
over
a little bit scary,
you would say.
I do have him over Cousins. Yeah. I spent a decent amount of time on quarterback rankings this morning, and it's really a jumbled up range. But I do have Stroud above both of them, by the way. He was the other one, right?
Yeah, Stroud is a must start. I'm not moving him.
I'll throw these up while we're talking here. What was it? There was more to this question, right?
Yeah, and then we got to do the running back part of this question, which was tougher, I thought. Genty, Aaron Jones, or Blake Corum in full PPR.
Genty, Aaron Jones, Blake Corum.
Yeah. Genty.
Pretty sure I would just go with Aaron Jones.
And I would love to be able to say Corum here because I just love how he plays football. I just really do. He's so fun to watch on tape, but I can't against Seattle, so just rule it out. It's Jones or Genty. I'll go Jones. The matchup with the Giants is good. We're just out on Genty. We've been out on Genty as a pod for a while here. He could luck his way into a touchdown. It seems unlikely. Pickett is potentially starting again. And what did they have, like a 75 yards of offense in the first half, I think, last week with Pickett? That's really just unacceptable levels for a fantasy standpoint. Like, you don't want any pieces in a game like that. If your offense is 75 yards, you don't want to be starting anyone really in that. And that it maybe even includes Bowers, sadly. But I guess you just roll him out there for one more week, as I will. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Aaron Jones.
Yeah,
just
me
can't
too.
do it.
Yeah.
All right, let's
I'm
move
still
on.
finishing up running back rankings, but I'll get those to you all in the newsletter. And then I'll talk about them with Ryan tomorrow on Mastering Matchups. Here are quarterbacks. I'm trying to add these to the screen.
While you're adding those quarterbacks, should we get to another question or just wait for the QBs? All right. This is from one of our favorite listeners on the show. And you might ask, why are you talking about favorite listeners? How do you have favorite listeners? Well, this is Austin Lim. He's helped us in a lot of ways. He's been a loyal listener of the show from the very start. And so he gets his shout out today, and big fan of Austin. So thank you, Austin. He says, okay, gents, I've got some lineup decisions to make. I need to start one of Harvey, Tony Pollard, Ken Walker III at running back. And I need two. Good. For a second, Austin, I thought you were one of those people who doesn't put in if it's full PPR. You got to put in the settings, but you did. This is a full PPR league. We got Harvey, Pollard, or Walker. He needs to pick one of those three. And then two of BTJ, Higgins, and Godwin. So he also has Christian Watson. So let's start with the running back. In a full PPR, where are you leaning on a Harvey, Pollard, Walker situation?
Definitely Harvey for me.
I think it's Harvey without a doubt.
He should be good. I don't think he's even been on the injury report or anything, but if the answer wasn't Harvey, do you prefer Pollard to Walker? Are we at that point?
I actually think Harvey did have an injury. He is managing a rib injury, but I think he's fine. You're right. And what'd you say? If what?
Do you prefer Pollard to Walker? Have we arrived at that point of
yes?
Yeah.
I've never really been in on Walker all year. I don't know if I'll ever.
Yeah, but Pollard
in my life. I think I'll just never roster Ken Walker. I don't know what scenario we'll call for it. Maybe if the Seahawks draft two offensive linemen this year, even then I'm like, it's Ken Walker. He never returns value on what you're investing. It feels like, despite being an explosive player. I believe in what I've seen lately. I've seen some cut-ups. The Titans offensive line is finally starting to really get things going in the ground game. So with that in mind, I would go Pollard, but it's Harvey as long as he plays. And then for the receiver part of that question, before we get to your quarterback rankings, would you go BTJ, Higgins, Godwin? He needs two of those. You could also put in Watson if he plays.
BTJ, T. Higgins, and Godwin.
If Higgins plays, he's a lock for me. Let me just start by saying that.
Yeah, I think it's T and probably Godwin.
Oh, I'm going BTJ. I'm back. Even against Denver. No.
I don't know. No.
Denver. I can't do it against Denver. No, I can't. All right. No, I take it back. I'm going to go Godwin and Higgins. But Watson, you know what? If Watson gets a full bill of health, give me Watson over Godwin.
Sure.
Give me Watson over Godwin.
I'm into that.
I love Christian Watson. All right. Let's get to some of your quarterback rankings. Never mind. We just had him up. Let's dive into that before we get into some more questions.
We're going to hit a break first. Thanks, Austin, for the question. Thanks to all y'all for being here. We're going to take our first break. We'll get back and dive into Week 16 quarterback rankings.
Critics agree Landman is a hit.
We roll the dice one last time.
Men die. Oil companies don't.
Alrighty. Here are Week 16 quarterback rankings. I've said that on this show that I feel like getting this range right could be make or break this week. To me, it's after the top six, they're pretty much all the same. It's Dak Prescott.
Roll back to your top six.
Sure. It's Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Drake May, Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy, Lamar Jackson.
Wow.
And
Lamar
everybody beyond that. Sure, you can throw Lamar into this. Everybody beyond Brock Purdy is pretty much the same, and that goes all the way down to Caleb Williams. If the weather's not so bad there. Even Aaron Rodgers and Bryce, we've talked about them towards the lower end of this. JJ McCarthy in this range. Here's where I landed on Kirk Cousins. And Trevor Lawrence, it kind of seems low, but I don't know. I feel like I said, the weather is pretty decent this week, and I feel pretty good about all of these quarterbacks. I'm actually 4 spots above consensus on Kirk Cousins. I'm much lower than consensus on Matthew Stafford. I actually have a super flex league where I've got a tough decision between Baker Mayfield, Jackson Dart, and Stafford, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to bench Stafford. You probably hate that, don't you?
No, I don't hate that as much as
Dart over Stafford. You're fine with that?
Okay, so I've made it clear I don't think Dart and the Giants are going to move the ball well against the Vikings, but I do know that Dart will run. One way or another, he will run. They've tried to stop the running. He still had 55 yards last week. He wants to run when the pocket breaks down. It could be a really bad fantasy day for Stafford. I really like this call for you. With no Devontae Adams in a really tough matchup, he doesn't run. If it's as grindy as I think this game might end up being, there may only be one touchdown to come about for Stafford. And if he only throws one touchdown with no rushing yards and a low passing yard game, that's a really bad fantasy start for the week. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, ended up really high on Stroud, which surprised me a little bit, but they're still playing for something, and the Raiders are not. They could, it could be such a blowout that they really go on with the ground game. So I'm fine moving any of these quarterbacks above him. But here's where I'm at. If y'all have any quarterback questions, hit us with it.
Yeah, Kitchen Toothbrush says that Jamie and Dave were on Stafford this week. Let us know why. I'm just curious what the boom case is for Stafford, so I can reconsider it potentially. Just from their standpoint. So let us know, and we can go back over it. But I'm with you. I'm with you on Stafford. He's lower on my list for this week. I don't like the setup without Devontae.
Yeah, I think the case is pretty clear. Like, he's awesome. He's going for MVP, and they're going for the playoffs, and you don't want to bench Stafford for some of these other guys that you don't know what you're going to get. But I worry about the pressure. I worry about the game being gross.
Yeah.
He didn't play great last time that he played them.
Yeah. Right? Like, he went for 130 and 2 TDs in the last game against Seattle. 53% completion rate. That was his worst completion rate of the season by far, Matthew Stafford. Like, it wasn't even close. Looking at these numbers, it was also by far and away the lowest passing yards he threw for all season. So,
all right, enough football talk. I've got a fun question for Dan from Big Head Mike 03. Dan, as an avid golfer and fantasy football fan, the people got to know what's in the bag. Give us a quick golf equipment setup, make, model, etc. Lastly, give me your sentiment on Lamar in a 6-point passing league.
Ooh.
Says I have JSN, CMC,
Yeah.
B. Wow, incredible abbreviation. I'm worried Lamar could crater me. So yeah, you felt like Lamar maybe didn't belong in that upper echelon with my guys there.
Well,
Lamar,
it's interesting. I'm so glad you asked. I'm so glad you had Lamar in that range. You signified that range, like signaled that range being the cutoff, because I also have a big Lamar decision this week. So I'm glad this is part of the question. But we'll make this question a little interactive, because he said, "What's in the golf bag?" We got the golf bag over here. I'm gonna take out.
We've got the golf bag.
My prized possession from the golf bag. It's the Ping, the new Ping driver. This bad boy is my number one club. I love this bad boy. Give it a little kiss goodbye. Give that bad boy a little kiss goodbye. As far as what else is in the bag, we got some Jaws. We got Jaws wedges. That's the ones I like. The raw Jaws wedges. Irons. My iron game is not strong. Okay, so here's the problem. Yes, this is my 3rd year playing golf. Never picked up a club before that. But everyone who's smart and knows anything about golf tells me to get good at, or the best play you can make in golf is to buy fitted irons. The problem is, Jacob, I don't want to get fitted irons yet, because everyone who gets fitted irons always says, oh, you better make sure you have a good swing before you get fitted irons, because they're going to fit it to your swing. My swing sucks, Jacob. My swing changes literally every day. Almost every day, I'm watching dumb Instagram, YouTube videos from different golf people giving me different ways to swing a golf club. And I can't even do what they tell me to do, but I try to do what they tell me to do. And it looks so simple in the videos, but it's so much harder than that. And because my golf swing is so different from like week to week, I don't want to get fitted for irons, because it's a big investment, and then have my swing change. So I still have these like starter set irons. I think it's TaylorMade burners. They're not good. Probably holding my game back to some extent. It's okay. I got the Ping driver. That's what it's all about. I got nice wedges. I play with the Spider putter. I bought that for this year. That was new for me, the Spider. Really like the Spider putter. I would suggest it to anyone. My putting is the thing that took the biggest jump from year 2 to 3, and by far and away. My putting has gotten so much better. And I'll credit the putter for that, even though it's probably not the real reason. You could probably the best putter I know uses a putter that he got in 1999, Jacob. So clearly the putter is not actually the reason for being a good putter. With that said, I've got a couple hybrids in there. My 3-wood broke, so I need to buy some new woods. My big next purchase is going to be a 7-wood. It's going to be the same ping. I want more pings in my bag, so it's going to be a ping 7-wood. That's the next purchase. Everybody I know says the 7-wood is a cheat code for golf. So yeah, that's what we got. As Bread Chains Brian says, enough about your trash golf game. I respect it. Nobody wants to hear about golf, despite it being the question. So no more golf. What was the other part? Oh, Lamar. So Lamar.
I think some people will like that, right? Like, I think that there are some people who will be able to nerd
there
out.
There are people who
enjoy
ask
your
for it.
nerdiness.
It's just like with Big Blue Banter when I talk golf. Some people love it. Some people hate it. With that said, and here we go. Jarhead says, don't buy fitted clubs. You got a consistent swing. Exactly why I haven't bought them yet. I have no consistency in my swing. All right. Lamar against the Pats. Why am I not as high on him as Jacob?
I'm throwing QB ranks up again because we've got some questions about the lower range for some Superflex people.
Okay.
But go ahead with Lamar.
Well, I'm a little nervous about Lamar. And in one league that I am, this is Dave Richards auction league, where me and Dave dominated the regular season, got buys, and now I may lose in the second round because I don't love my team and the injuries I've had to face and what's left of it. But it's going to be, for me, my decision is going to be Lamar, Jackson Dart, or JJ McCarthy, who I just picked up. I'm probably going to roll with Lamar, but why don't you make the case for why Lamar is in your top 6? Because I'd rather hear your boom case to kind of make myself feel better.
Thought he looked like Lamar. Thought he looked good last week.
Okay.
I was really surprised to see that they're favorites, but they are. I think that this Patriots defense has played well, but we just saw like you can get massive games from massive quarterbacks, and I just would have a hard time putting any of these players ahead of Lamar Jackson. Jacoby Brissett's been awesome. If you want to start him ahead of Lamar, go for it. But we got a similar type of question about Lamar, and it's just kind of like they were like, it was actually Brissett. Yeah, they were like, what do you do like with somebody like Lamar or Tyler Warren? Would you be considering starting Jacoby Brissett or Colby Parkinson over those guys?
Right.
And it's like, sure, I guess in theory that's fine. But if you're like asking how I handle it, if I have Lamar, I don't have a second quarterback. Even when he's playing like crap during that 3-week stretch, I probably am not considering using a roster spot on a second quarterback, Which
I totally like from a strategy standpoint. I think people are in a different spot than that, though, Jacob, because he got injured. So they added a quarterback for those weeks and now still have that quarterback.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at with Lamar. Is like, it's just a pretty easy set and forget spot for me. And it's nothing about it really scares me. Although I will say, like, of the few games that are approaching that 30 degrees, maybe a little snow, this is one of them. Baltimore versus New England.
Right. At night,
but ultimately,
which I don't love.
The projected game environment from Vegas doesn't look too bad.
Okay. So you like the projected game environment. It's Lamar. It looked a little bit more like Lamar to you. I didn't get a chance to watch his tape from last week. So ultimately, I'm banking on your eval of you saying he looked more like the real Lamar. Will the real Lamar please stand up? We got a problem here. All right. That was a weird reference, but let's move back into this thing with another question here. Let's do this one from Jay Boren. Sweet Jane Jones says, I got 2. 1, how do I explain Tim Robinson's humor and style to those who are not fans yet?
Yeah. All right. Before we get to the Tim Robinson, last thing I want to mention here on the quarterbacks, Caleb Williams, people felt like this was low to have him at QB 20. My thoughts on this is that we're probably going to see the Bears really try to bully them on the ground. That's just kind of what the vibes have been that I've gotten picked up, But, no Micah Parsons in this game, like it could be a spot where they find success through the air if they need to. I don't mean to be low on Caleb. If he outscores everyone on the screen right now, that would not surprise me at all. So if you feel good about it, go with it.
Okay.
Tim Robinson. I definitely have thoughts on this. There was a follow-up question on this too, from Eddie, who's been in here with a bunch of good questions. And he's like, what would be the best introduction to his humor? So before I even try to like explain it, I actually did come up with what I think is a really good introduction to Tim's humor. And it's, if you YouTube search Jack's Bad Reputation, you'll find it's a skit from the Detroiters, and it's with Keegan-Michael Key from Key and Peele. And it doesn't lean so much on Tim, you know, like Tim's good at
Yeah.
in it, and you get a lot of layers of like what Tim thinks is funny in that skit, but it's also like very much kind of like catering to the Key and Peele audience, the more like traditional kind of sketch comedy stuff, you know. I think just start there. It's like 2-3 minutes or something, and if you think that it's funny, then you might be onto something. And I would just say literally just start with episode 1 of I Think You Should Leave on Netflix if you like that 2 or 3 minute sketch with Keegan Michael Keel.
It's an interesting question because I think the problem for me with this question is I've tried to get some friends into I Think You Should Leave and Tim Robinson in general. The problem with the question is I feel like his humor is very hit or miss for each individual person. Like I've shown so many different Tim Robinson sketches, Dylan's Burger, obviously the sloppy steaks, like everything that I think is really funny to friends. And some of them will be like, this sucks, like, or just like not laugh. And they're just like, all right, no, I don't get it. And that's okay. It's a bad feeling as a friend to like, whenever you show someone music or TV, you want like, hey, you're waiting patiently, like, hoping they confirm your happiness of it or your joy that you derive from it. But then randomly, like a friend of mine, Nick Flotto, who's actually my co-host of Big Blue Banter, didn't like him at all. And he's like, all right, no, I don't like this guy. And then like, I kept sending him sketches on Instagram and stuff like maybe you like this, maybe, and like 2 hit so hard for him. He loves the zip line. Thinks that's one of the funniest things ever. The whole zip line's getting. I love it too. Like the whole time you just looked like you were just trying to get back to the zip line. And then he loves the yes sir, when he's like, please say I love you, please say I love you. That sketch where it's the king.
That's not even. That's not. I Think You Should Leave. That's the characters.
Oh, that's not even that show. I didn't even know. I just see him on Instagram too, and I was sent it to him. So I think it's different for every person, honestly. So it's hard for me to say like how I would introduce the humor. But maybe I would start. I think you probably gave a good way to start. I think the Detroiter is actually my favorite of all Tim Robinson. So I would probably start there personally.
I think that sketch is really good because it's pretty normal. It's got some humor that's a little bit obscene, and it's like if that bothers you at all, then don't worry about it. Don't look into this because he's like that. He thinks that's funny, you know. But if it doesn't bother you, then I think it'll be a really easy entry point for you. It's Jack's Bad Reputation. You can find it.
I like that. I'm gonna check that out. Jack's Bad Reputation.
So Tim, though, like, what is the humor? That was kind of the original question. How would you describe it? It's just absurd. It's just absurdism. What I wrote was like, what if life was exactly the same structurally, but like wackiness was just turned up like 50%. Not for the sake of being wacky, not to be funny, not so like anyone has the worst day of work in their life or anything, like simply just as a factor, reality's wackiness is just turned up. And like we just observe day-to-day functions of that change through Tim, mostly through Tim's, not always through Tim, but through Tim's perspective. And he's often like within that increase in wackiness, he's weird. He's like odder than the rest of them. And so it's just like, that just plays out in day-to-day situations.
Yeah.
It's just absurd. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah. I don't know how I would describe it without like, I don't want to offend anyone or say anything that maybe sounds offensive. So I don't want to go, but like, if you like watching people spaz out, like that's kind of like what is funny to me about it in a lot of ways. Like watching Tim not just do things, but say things that are just so wacky and weird in a serious setting, like, or what appears to be a serious setting.
People do that, dude. People do that kind of stuff in real life. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it seems insane, but I'm telling you, if you just turned up 50%, you would get this kind of crap happening in your day-to-day life. True. Because there are people out here who are not coping well or whatever and are unhinged and just react to things in seemingly crazy ways. And that's kind of what this is like, it's just day-to-day stuff that just like all of a sudden starts snowballing out of control.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. It just starts snowballing and it's really good. I'm a big fan. He also asked, Jay Bourne, this is, what would you say you've learned the most from your preseason player profile ratings and your reads on players this year? Did you put too much or too little emphasis in skill versus scheme?
Well, I feel like we put a ton of emphasis into scheme, and that was pretty much directionally accurate. Like like maybe over emphasized it with the Liam Cohen stuff and expecting that to like help BTJ, and that didn't quite come to fruition, but it did really help the running backs, you know? So maybe that one wasn't quite the right application of it, but like the Ben Johnson stuff hit in such a huge way. The Seattle stuff hit in such a huge way.
True.
Who did
In a way, we
you
didn't
say?
necessarily expect, or I didn't at least. Who did you say after that?
I thought you said one right off the top, but
I just
I
said
was
Liam
thinking about
Cohen.
Liam
Yeah,
Cohen.
we've
I
talked
thought you
Liam
said
Cohen
someone
a
else.
bunch. Yeah, I think for me, like just to answer the question, I've always been a big believer in situation in fantasy. It's been a big part of shaping my rankings and my preseason thoughts and how I evaluate players' situations. I'm going to continue to put an emphasis on that while also putting an emphasis on more of an emphasis on scheme, how much the play callers do matter for fantasy success, and an offensive environment within the scheme. Like there are still situations where you can't get your scheme going depending on what you have. Like the Saints scheme looks so much better with Schuck running it than with Rattler running it. We couldn't know that. That's something that we had to watch and see. And now we can see what Kellen Moore is able to do. And it's a little bit more than we expected, especially given their offensive line situation, which isn't great. So I would say further stress on scheme and play calling, further stress on situations for me in offensive environments. Again, like the Vegas one was a good example of that, like projected by Vegas.
Oh, that's what you said. You said Bowers.
Yeah.
That's
Bowers,
I was trying to catch that.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I guess we were hopeful that maybe the pace would be up, or maybe some things would be better under Chip Kelly. Yeah, that's fair. I don't know if we could have seen it collapsing so badly like this. But maybe, like you pointed out the offensive line concerns, but you also had similar concerns for Seattle and Jacksonville. Yeah, you know.
Both
so
and
it's
Texans
like,
even also had those offensive line concerns that they've overcome.
yeah.
Really what it is, though, I think the problem is like we didn't put enough weight into the recent film of Geno Smith. We kind of looked at Geno Smith as a whole, and he was at one point.
I watched every freaking dropback for Geno Smith
last year, and you thought it was good?
Yeah.
Okay, I did not watch those. You thought it was still the same Geno?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough because the offense was terrible. The offensive design was terrible in Seattle last year, and the offensive line was terrible. And so, like, he was making some crazy throws, but it felt like he had to because, like, what else are you going to do? Just get sacked, I guess, you know, just dirt it. Like, and so that's where most of his mistakes came, is like he was just being overly aggressive to try to, like, save the day. I didn't feel like Geno lost hardly anything from a velocity, in anticipation, like timing, all that looked really good last year. And that's backed by data.
Yeah, it is. It's very odd then to see what happened with Geno this year. It just feels like
he's pretty old. I think a drop off can come kind of randomly. And I think switching situations could affect things. You know, who knows what Geno was like this offseason. Yeah.
It certainly hurt him for sure.
I like this. You're going to love this comment, and it kind of relates to this sentiment that I share a lot. And I feel like this season has really brought out is that this question is interesting, and maybe with more time and reflection this offseason, I'll be able to give y'all a better answer. But I kind of just don't know, like talent or scheme, you know, in some areas it was really useful to, you know, but like in some areas it didn't matter at all how talented Brock Bowers was or Ashton Genty was, you know, like I don't know. And so like the question is, or the comment is, Beyond the Box Score is becoming the Seinfeld of fantasy podcast, a show about nothing, but one of the greatest shows.
That sounds great to me.
I knew you would love that. And I say
anytime I'm compared to anything Larry David has ever put his stamp on, it's a compliment from me.
I thought it was funny corollary here because it's like nothing is truly kind of the answer to a lot of things. When you want to get like really philosophical about this season in particular and like trying to draw results from it, it's like, I don't know. Maybe you could have seen Javonte Williams coming, I guess. Like, you know, like, sure. Like I don't know. It's just been such a wild, wild year.
And there's also just like caveats to every situation, right? Like Trey McBride is the biggest hit in fantasy. 2 or 3 weeks ago when we said, who's going to be the league winner? I picked him as like, he will win you leagues. And so far it's been a great pick, like down the stretch run, but none of it would have happened if Kyler didn't get hurt. Honestly, guys, like the reality is with Kyler, he didn't score touchdowns. He wasn't even as productive overall because Kyler kind of stinks. With Jacoby Brissett, who we never expected to play this year. No one went into this year being like, I don't know, man, if Jacoby Brissett at some point gets his opportunity, like these guys could go off. Michael Wilson, Trey McBride. No one saw this coming. Even with the Patriots, Jacoby Brissett wasn't just winging the ball over the field, ripping it into intermediate levels, taking shots. Like he was playing like within a system and kind of just managing a game like you would expect from like Kyler at this point. So
Daniel Jones completely reviving his career is not even the wackiest thing that happened within his own team's quarterback room this year.
Right.
Like,
That just
we've got Phillip Rivers out here.
The reality is you have to adjust in fantasy always. And that is something that we take away. But I do think I'm putting more emphasis on the situation and scheme because it just seems to continue to play out, man. We pinpoint these teams every year, like with these amazing coordinators that we loved watching the year before, Liam Cohen. And then we don't go and get Travis Etienne everywhere at that insanely cheap price or something like that, right? Like, and we love the Cowboys scheme. We don't get Javonte at an insane price. You just have to buy into the offenses you think are going to be great. And there always will be the offenses that everyone knows about for fantasy. And those are the ones with the super high ADP, the Lions, whatever it be. What you need to do is get in on the Jaguars and the Bears, the offenses that are coming up and weren't there the year before. That's where all the cheap value comes from, it feels like. Even DeAndre Swift, for example, in that regard. All right, Brian asks, what do we think about the Dolphins skill players? I'm talking Achane. I'm talking Waddle. I'm talking Darren Waller with Quinn Ewers under center making his first start in the NFL.
And we're going to talk about all that right after we get back from our second break. We'll get to some Miami Dolphins Week 16 stuff for you.
When you need your sports news all the time,
We've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.
Did you watch much Quinn Ewers? Like, is he somebody you scouted in college? I thought so. I watched a lot of him because I had to, like watching Xavier Worthy and watching Matthew Golden, A.D. Mitchell.
A.D. Mitchell year before. I watched a ton of that year of Ewers.
Didn't love that watching experience. I don't really know what to expect here. It's been really bad with Tua. So, like, on one hand, I don't know if it could be way, way worse. But, I mean, we've seen with some of these offenses that it can be. Like, Miami's infrastructure, their coaching, their offensive line isn't as bad as the Raiders. But, you know, that's just the example of, like, how bad it can get, even if you have really talented players, if the quarterback play is just, like, abysmal.
Right.
Do you feel like there's some level of competence beyond what we're getting from the Raiders or the Jets, you know, like at the QB position here? Like, do you think you can... I know he really liked Gunnar Helm and lean on the tight end position a lot in college. Do you have any thoughts on how this might go?
Well, what's sickening, Jacob, is in my 14-team Superflex semifinals that I told you about with a half-point per completion, basically you have to start a QB. I'm going to be deciding between Rivers, Kenny Pickett if he starts, and a waiver bid that goes tonight on Quinn Ewers. This is the situation I'm in. My early lean is Ewers, which is so disgusting. But here's my thoughts on Ewers. When he first came into the college scene as a 5-star recruit, I remember watching JT O'Sullivan's breakdown of like his first game, and I loved what I saw. Like, he was making off-platform throws, his 3/4 release. He could whip it. He could run, scramble out of a pocket, move to his left, and throw a ball from this angle and get it to his receiver. He had good velocity on his throws. And then when I finally sat down and watched his tape, like as he progressed throughout his career at Texas, watching A.D. Mitchell the first year, and then going back to having to go back to the tape to watch Worthy and all of the players, and then Matthew Golden. He was like, he just got worse and worse and worse, Ewers, from the pocket. He just, the off-target throws, it's mind-boggling. Like, his ball placement in his college career, it was mind-boggling to see how many throws he could miss from platform, in a pocket, on time, not really a lot of pressure on the play, and just miss a throw. A.D. Mitchell should have had like 10 touchdowns his last season at Texas, but he just missed them over and over and over again. So I think ball placement is going to be a massive issue for the Dolphins moving forward with Ewers at quarterback. I also think he's going to make some of those off-platform throws that Tua simply cannot make. Tua has no ability to throw off-platform. He's not a good thrower of the football naturally. Overall, I think it's probably going to be a net negative, but I will say this. Mike McDaniel is a coordinator and an offense. We're just talking about what are we learning from the season. He's a coach that I trust, that I believe in. He's one of the 5 coaches I believe could come up with a game plan specific to your skill set. A lot of like bootleg, move the pocket, run action off the play action, and maybe design something. The player that I would be most excited about in that pass game would be Waller for this type of system. Boot action, get the quarterback on the move, have defined areas to throw the football into. Waddle, not so much. Waddle, deep targets. I think those will be bad with Ewers, really off target. So I would say it can't hurt him too much, right? Tua was that bad, but it's not something I'm excited about. I could potentially go with Waller, though.
The accuracy was so bad at times that, like, I was like, is he hurt?
I thought the same with Ewers.
Because sometimes he was playing through injuries, you know?
He played through a lot of injuries at Texas, yeah.
But I feel like it happened a lot like so much so that I don't know. Also, like though, it's possible that he's gotten better. You know, it's been
Yeah,
like a year since we've seen him play football, and he's been with an NFL team. So like maybe they cleaned some of this up. I mean, they're
true.
willing to go to him as part of professional operation here.
He threw for 55 yards in his like spot start earlier this year, or not start when he had to come in the game earlier this year, which is like more than Kenny Pickett threw for an entire half last week against the Eagles. Like it's not like he's better. I think he'll offer more than Kenny Pickett, for example, who can't throw a football and has the smallest hands in the world. But I don't know if I'm like, and that's my decision. It's going to be Rivers, Ewers, or Pickett. It's about the worst decision you'll ever see in the semifinals of fantasy football matchup. What would you go with of those three? Are you Riversing it?
Yeah.
In half point for completion with that important setting in mind. Still,
Yeah, it would be between him and Ewers.
Yeah.
I do have Rivers just ahead of Ewers.
Okay. All right. Well, this is fantasy football for you. All right. So our overall take is let's not go too crazy. I love
Got
this
a good one for you.
Okay.
Yeah. From B.
From the chat.
Silvis. Yeah. Love the show. Been here from the beginning since the first iteration. That's cool. Don't exactly know what it means because we've done, we did Beyond the Box Score with Adam like 3 or 4 years ago is when we with the name. Just curious if you guys have any pointers on where or how to watch film. I love doing rookie analysis. Don't always know what to look for. So I've got some tips on like how to get free college film access, which I think is really cool. But do you have anything on where to watch NFL film for free or for cheap? Because we get it through True Media, so I don't seek that out really.
So we get it through work. As far as the first part, you got to let me know where you get your college tape from, Jacob, because I'm paying for my college tape. I don't get a lot of it, and it seems hard to get, and I pay. Well, for
even Caddy's Cut-Ups isn't that expensive,
Yeah, shout out Caddy's Cut-Ups. That's where anyone can get some college tape from. It's called Caddy's Cut-Ups. Pretty cheap. As far as the NFL tape goes, we get it through work, but you can get it through the NFL.
I'm about to drop a link in the chat.
Yeah, nice. You can get the NFL tape through what is it? NFL Next Gen or not Next Gen? NFL. I think it's NFL Plus maybe, but go to the NFL main website and you can get the tape through NFL. Now it's available to anyone. So that's how you get your access to it. And then do you have pointers on how to watch film or how you've gone about watching film? Because I can give mine after that.
Are you asking like technique?
I think that's what he's asking for in this question. I'm not positive what you're asking, B. Silvis, but I think he's saying like where and how to watch film. I think he just kind of wanted to know, or no, what to look for in rookies, I guess he's asking. So maybe it's partly that. It's hard to follow.
Interesting. Yeah, I would love to hear anything from you.
For me, like I just start with charting. Like I have a document, I always have a Google document open, and I chart each play and I write about each play. So then at the end, I can go back and look through the notes and see what stood out, what kept coming up. What I look for example, we can go through receivers. What I'm looking for is their release off the line of scrimmage. Do they have a release package? Are they using the same release? If they are using the same release, is it a release they can rely on? Because you don't always need a diversified release package. Like a great example, this is Marvin Harrison Jr. entered the NFL with such an amazing diversified release package on the line of scrimmage. A lot of people are like, this could just, in my mind, a lot of people were like, or at least I thought this could be the next Davante Adams, because that's how Davante Adams has won, with that sick and diversified release package off the line of scrimmage. He hasn't been so far, Harrison. There's been some quarterback issues, whatever. But then there's also the players like Neighbors, who people will not like during the process. People were knocking Neighbors as a prospect. Like he doesn't have a diversified release package. And it's true. Like if you watch his tape at LSU, he doesn't really have that, but he doesn't need it because his speed release off the line of scrimmage works every time. It's like Antonio Brown. He didn't need a diversified release package. He just won with the speed release every single time. So I think you look for mostly like, are receivers winning off the line of scrimmage to release? How are they at the catch point is important to me. How are they at tracking the football on the vertical path plane is important to me. How are they at getting in and out of their breaks? That's by far and away the most important thing for a wide receiver. When you watch him at the top of his break, what kind of separation is he creating? And how easy is it from an athletic and just lateral agility standpoint to create that separation at the top of the break? So that's what I'm really looking for at wide receiver. For running back, it's tough. I've learned a lot over the years watching, shout out Matt Wallman. I think he's the best at evaluating running backs and what to look for. Because to me, anyone can see like the size, speed when it comes to running backs and the pure athleticism. I like looking for the other stuff. I like looking for the ability to process behind the line of scrimmage, let the blocks develop, and understand where cutback lanes are. especially if you're in a zone scheme. One of my best hits, I thought, from the college level, and I'll always go back to Adam on this, was a text I sent Adam, and he's like, give me 3 rookies you want to talk about before the draft a couple years ago. And I said, Devon Achane. He's like, what? You're saying, like, who is this guy? I always felt like Devon Achane's tape at A&M was so much better than people realize. People are like, this guy's a special teamer. This guy's just a speed guy. He was never that. If you watch the tape, you could see that Achane was really good at processing all runs, inside runs, outside runs. He was a much better running back than people realized if you actually broke it down. So that's where it's at for those 2 positions. And you could put tight end into that. Tight end's definitely a different position, though, Jacob, because, and I'm rambling here, but there's a lot to talk about.
No,
this
it's
question
good
is
stuff.
so layered. Tight end,
Yeah.
It depends how you're like what system you're in, where you're lined up, if you're playing in line, if you're playing off the line of scrimmage a lot. Tight end stuff. So I'm just gonna pass over that, but it's similar to receiver. And then QB, by far the toughest to evaluate, without even a doubt in my mind, because A, these college systems are wacky and they're not really translatable to the NFL level. B, the college game is so different. Like with the hash marks, it just leaves these wide open field sides. Like you would watch Penix at Washington with these 2 elite tackles and great receivers. And I'd watch Penix and I'd be like, none of this translates to the NFL. He's never going to have a wide open field side that he could just throw the football into every play and get these like space one-on-one plays for a Dunze to go up and get the football, or McMillan or whoever it was. So like quarterback's a really tough one. For quarterback, what I look for are just physical traits, to be quite honest with you. Processing is hard to see, I think, from college to the NFL level, and it's hard to predict. So I am definitely looking at quarterback for physical traits. Can you throw off platform? How are you from a ball placement standpoint? And most importantly for quarterback for me is, how are you at seeing the middle of the field, anticipating the middle of the field, and then the ability to layer and throw the football into the middle of the field. With Drake May, that was the number one reason why I was so high on Drake May and had that conviction on him, because that's the area of the field that you're first going to have an opportunity to throw into at the NFL level. You're not going to be able to just throw outside the numbers at the NFL level going from college to there. And I thought he did the best job of that entire class. So it's a lot to talk about. I didn't even get to all I want to get to, and I still talked for a while. So I'm gonna drop the mic.
Nice. All right. Yeah, I've got a lot on this. So first thing I want to throw up is a comment from the chat. It says Matt Wallman said Puka is not actually a good receiver, just good for fantasy. Which, to be fair, coming into the league, Puka had a lot he needed to show as an actual wide receiver. And then even in year one, when he had a great season, a lot of that was manufactured. And there was still a lot for him to learn as a wide receiver in terms of going to get the ball, in terms of winning at the release. I think working with Davante Adams, or even just being around Davante Adams, has made a huge difference for Puka this year. But also, who the hell knows what it is? It might not be that at all. It might just be Puka's locked in on his own and doing all this. Right. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And that's what my actual point is that like player evaluation is worth doing, I think, because you can, find some players who are undervalued because other people aren't doing the evaluation. To be honest, I think a lot of the evaluation that happens is pretty surface level. And so if you're willing to go in and really spend time with it and get your hands dirty and watch a ton of film and everything, you can find some stuff that's pretty interesting, but you don't have to stick to that. Like what Wallman said here, that doesn't have to, like, things change. Players change as they get in the league for sure. We don't know how some players are going to work and how some will not. Puka's obviously put in a tremendous amount of work and like molded his game. But I just think like this, like watching film is not a science at all. Like, no. I think it's cool that somebody like Waldman can provide more
context,
I guess, scientific ways to approach it in terms of technique and stuff like that he can point to that he thinks is relevant, and I think in a lot of cases proves to be. I think that's all really, really cool. And if you have the time and the dedication and attention to like really get in and follow a process with charting and all of that, I think it can be really beneficial. Matt Harmon, reception perception, freaking awesome. You know, a lot more hits than misses. And so, yeah, I think film watching is dope. I really enjoy doing it. And I really, really enjoy people who are able to be super detail oriented and do it. But I also think that like it's not written in stone, like what these players are going to be or might become for sure.
I agree with that, by the way. It's just one piece of the puzzle. It's my favorite piece, and it gives me, in my mind at least, a chance to just differentiate my rankings and myself and where I can come, like how I can approach the game. But it is just one piece.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into another.
This is
Yeah,
just on the Puka thing. Waldman said this during the recent offseason. Again, like I think he's made another huge leap this year.
yeah,
We've seen this happen each year with
Yeah.
Puka. Yeah, I don't know. I think the film stuff is really interesting. I could stay for a long time. For me, I think everything you threw out in terms of specifics was really cool. The main thing that I feel like I noticed is like how expansive is your field as a player, and that's kind of a nebulous thing. I don't know if people can grasp that or not, but like your spatial awareness, and that comes into play when Dan's talking about processing and stuff with the quarterbacks and what areas of the field are you able to tap into. I think that's relevant to everybody, really. And that's the main thing, because like to me, somebody like Puka, like as we've seen him become a bigger and bigger thing, it's like he can win everywhere now, and he also has this crazy like vision. I was watching a cut up recently. I'm rambling on who was it? It was Garrett Wilson was the initial one. Oh, it was Luther Burden, and this is from Jetpack Galileo on Twitter. He's an awesome follow. And he was talking about how Luther Burden was using a jump to go get the ball to then like
create more space after the catch. I saw that.
Yeah, get his movement where it's also vertical and not just horizontal as he's running, but he's also got the vertical momentum. And so then he catches the ball and he's already in a plant and then turns and spins. Right. You guys all saw that spin this past weekend, I'm sure. And Garrett Wilson does the same thing too. And it's just like, there's just so many, Football 301 is really good.
Little nuance to it, what you're talking.
Shout out Football 301.
Yeah, Football 301 is definitely one of my favorite pods.
Before we leave this, I've got a few other ones I wanted to shout out for people who want to watch more film. Saturday morning inspection on YouTube. This question originally was asking about rookies. They do offensive line, defensive line rookies. They'll even do some linebackers and stuff like that. They do tight ends. And occasionally they'll do some other skill position players, running backs and stuff like that. If you want to learn more about rookies and some of the rookies that don't get talked about as much, like offensive line and stuff like that, I think that's really interesting. It's Saturday morning inspection. The quarterback school is good if you want to learn about quarterbacks, and that's not just exclusive to rookies. And then the one that I put in the chat is Just the Tape. I haven't been on there in like 6 months. That's college. They might be doing stuff during the regular season. I don't know. And then Football with Nick is good too. Nick Pentecoff is a good guy on Twitter. And he gives a lot of free stuff too. All those are free.
Love it. Love it. All right. This next question's a fun one. I want to hear if you have an answer for this. There's one that comes right to my mind, but he asks for Max Adam asks, what's the craziest fantasy sweat you can ever remember?
I'm excited to hear yours. Why don't you go first?
So I have one that comes to mind, and it's with shout out to my friend Mike Collins. I'll never forget it. This is just one that will live in infamy for me. So it's college. I'm in college, just in fantasy, and I'm in a playoff matchup. And it's either playoffs or like just getting into the playoffs, one of the two. I needed the win. And it was still 1 QB at league at the time. But for some reason, I had the idea, Monday Night Football, the Falcons were playing, and there was an injury at quarterback to whoever their starter was that year. And do you remember, I'm forgetting this dude's first name, which is so sad. I'm going to have to look it up right now. I have to get this name. Yes. Chris Redman was starting at quarterback for the Falcons. Chris Redman in a spot start. And I decided, and it was Monday Night Football, and I decided I would put my entire fantasy fate on Chris Redman as a spot start streamer at quarterback. The matchup was amazing. And trying to remember if I could look up this game. Chris Redman, Falcon quarterback, Monday Night Football. I think it's showing up in here. I have a shot here. Here it is. No, it couldn't have been this one. This was a horrible game from him.
By the way, Philip Rivers is only 4 years young. Philip Rivers is only 4 years younger than this guy.
Chris Redman, that's incredible. So I remember being in the Stacks, which is at Wisconsin. I went to school at Wisconsin. Obviously, you can see it back there in Madison. The Stacks were like Memorial Library where we'd go to study. It was like final season. And I was in the Stacks, supposed to be studying, and just watching on Game Tracker, Chris Redman light it up. I needed like 18 points, and he got there in like the third quarter with like 2 or 3 touchdowns. It was Chris Redman. It's just the greatest sweat ever, which is going into that game. Like, I made this fantasy call. Like, this is all on me. I benched like guys who are supposed to be better. This guy was ranked so low in people's rankings. I was just like, I believe in Chris Redman in this matchup. I believe in the matchup. And part of it is I wanted a Monday night game to end the playoffs. You always want guys on Monday nights. It's just more fun. You get to sweat. And I just remember sweating that out in the Stacks Memorial Library, watching myself win that matchup with Chris Redmond. And I'll just never forget Chris Redmond because of that. But I did forget his first name. You got any that?
I got caught up on the Redmond thing. What were the stakes of this?
It was either the first or second round. I don't remember which round of the fantasy playoffs, but it was final season at Wisconsin. So it must have been deep, like late into the December range.
Okay. I've got two that come to mind.
Okay.
One was one of the first like big cashes I ever had in DFS. And it was like when I didn't even hardly know what DFS was. It was like at the very beginning of it. And I was like, I don't know, 19 years old or something.
Love that.
And I was playing NBA DFS and I had done it for like 4 or 5 days where I was like, I think I can really like, make something out of this. You know what I mean? Like, I think I could be really good at this. Like I'm a total degenerate sicko watching the NBA every single game, every night, basically.
I know more than that. Yeah.
It came down to Hassan Whiteside, who had not ever really played in the NBA, but I like knew a little bit about him because I was obsessed with basketball and he was getting an opportunity to play. And I'm pretty sure he was playing against LaMarcus Aldridge on the other side. And they're both like, don't care about defense, really, just here to score and put numbers up. And I had both of them and they both went nuts. It was like the last game of the night. And so you get the real sweat where it's like, oh my gosh, like if this goes like just a few more points, like I could win like $20,000 or whatever. You know what I mean? You're like freaking 19 years old. Like that's like more money than I've ever even thought about. It was good. It was a really cool finish, but I didn't quite get there. And it was just like so insane because it's like, I'm hooked. I'm addicted to gambling now. Like right away, like that hit so hard. And then the other one is a bad sweat. I don't remember exactly the context of how this went down, but my college roommate, my best friend, who's not that into fantasy. And this was at the time where I was starting to really get into it. I had won my Whiteside money and now I was thinking I'm a big boss at fantasy and everything. My dog, somehow we face each other in 3 separate fantasy championships across 3 different platforms. We did a DFS thing where we did a tournament every single week and then like a playoff. And it was him and me in that. And then we had a dynasty league and it was him and me in that. And then we had a redraft league and it was him and me in that. And I don't understand how that happened.
That's crazy.
Because he's not that good at fantasy and he's not listening to what I say. He's just out here vibing. And he beat me in all 3 of them.
Wow.
And it was all because of Adam Thielen. I don't remember exactly why, but like it was probably Monday night or something. And Thielen went nuts and he beat me in all 3 of them. And like still to this day, like will not let that go. Like anytime he's got Thielen on his team.
Across the board, he just vibed his way to Thielen on all 3 rosters. And when Thielen was going off, I remember those. I remember when Thielen did ruin a lot of people's fantasy seasons, just being on the other side of it. I love that. That's great. And you always remember the names of the players in your sweats that did it for you, either in the positive way, in my case with Chris Redmond, or in the negative way, in Jacob's case with Adam Thielen. Let's get to Howard Rosenblum, who says, guys, thank you so much. You got me to the semis. Well, I appreciate that. He's got a few questions, so we will be happy to answer them. He's Purdy or Stafford. I think we're pretty clear on Purdy there, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. He says, what do I do about RJ Harvey? Do I wait and hope for the news, or do I play Ken Walker on Thursday ahead of time? He also has Ramondre Stevenson, by the way, if you want to go that route.
I think I would go Ramondre.
Ooh.
But not over Harvey, or right? Walker or who?
Harvey.
No. Harvey over that. Okay. Harvey.
But his point is like, do he wait for the rib injury news on Harvey?
I would just wait because Stevenson is fine with me.
Agreed.
I would rather play Stevenson than Walker.
Same. Waller or Gadsden?
I think I'm still going with Waller. I hate that. Oh gosh, that can't be right? Like Waller attached to yours or Gadsden attached to Herbert. That can't be right.
I know, but it kind of weirdly somehow is. Gadsden got involved again this past week. I was so happy to see it. Like, get the guy involved. He's so good. What are we doing here? Like, why did we stop throwing to him for that stretch? But I think I'll go Waller too. I just like the role for Waller, and I like the fit. If they're going to come out with a game plan, I think they are, with Ewers at quarterback. I think it is very beneficial for whoever's playing that move tight end position. And right now it's Waller for the Dolphins. Would you go Gadsden? This is a question. I'm just a selfish question. I'm going to answer in the middle. I'm going to ask you, Jacob, in the middle of our answering Howard's question. Would you go Gadsden or Loveland this week? I have that decision to make.
I'm pretty sure I would just go with Loveland.
That's
It depends on maybe if Luther's back and or Odunze's back, that might change it. But I think I would just go with Loveland. I'm shocked that the Dolphins still have a 24-point implied total. Like
I thought I saw it drop to 21 and a
I
half.
think it's got to drop, right? Have you seen that?
I read
What'd you
before
say?
this show somewhere that it dropped to 21 and a half, but I don't have confirmation.
Okay.
on
I was
that.
like, that seems impossible.
Though I don't even like Tua doesn't help. Tua sucks, man. I hate to say it, but Sutton, Rice, or Pickens is his final question. That's a tough one. This is clearly a BTB guy. He's got Rice and Pickens in the decision.
I think I'm going Sutton and Rice. I feel awful about Pickens. Yeah, let's talk about Pickens a little bit if we're doing real football stuff.
Okay.
25% first read target rate this past game, 20% the game before that. I just don't think Dak wants to look his way. Like maybe it's a dumb like recency bias kind of take, but like I feel like he trusts CeeDee Lamb obviously, and he trusts Ryan Flournoy, who's like really playing hard and doing the most right now with his opportunities. And then he trusts Jake Ferguson, like even Schoonmaker, like he's got other options to go to, and he's not going to Pickens. And I don't really know why he would, unless a different Pickens than the one we've been seeing shows up. And I just have no confidence that's going to happen. So if you have options that feel all right, I know Rice, it doesn't feel great, but like the Titans defense is pretty abysmal in the passing game and in the secondary, and their secondary is banged up and was already really bad. Like I would just go with them.
It's very well. First of all, obviously, you'll track throughout the week Howard Rice's concussion protocol. Rice might not be playing, so this decision might be made for you. I'm gonna go Pickens over Rice. Obviously, Sutton would be the first one here, and it's just I didn't have in my bingo card, Jacob, that at some point we would be just Pickens is fully healthy, but it's like mentally is he all checked in? I felt like I didn't watch 2 weeks ago, but I watched a cut up of him from this past week. I didn't really feel like he was. I know you said like he wasn't going his hardest. Maybe I just felt like he wasn't that involved in the game plan almost. Which
Adam
is
said that, not me.
Oh, sorry, Adam said that. I apologize for that. You didn't say that. Adam said that on our Beyond the Box Score show. I don't like. It's so weird. Like, Jeff Snook in the chat suggested maybe Pickens heard that he's going to get franchise tag and he's checked out. I wouldn't even say that's impossible. Like, that's how weird the situation is. Like, that to me is not impossible. If he's heard rumblings like Dallas just going to tag him and he's not going to get paid in free agency and he's going to have to play under the franchise tag, maybe he is just checked out. To me, it's like if you're Pickens, you need to put together really good tape for these last couple of weeks so you get paid in free agency. Like, you're not going to be able to fizzle your way out through free agency, have these 2 horrible weeks and then just roll through and get paid how you expected to get paid. So I don't know. I think I'm going Pickens over Rice. I don't feel good about Rice with this situation, Minshew, and I know the matchup's great. I don't really want a part of it. All right, Daniel says he's got a tough one. Pick one flex in half PPR. Rice, Hampton, McConkey. You got to pick one. It's half PPR. It's not easy.
I don't know, man. I haven't quite got there. My rankings. Do you have any lean?
And my lean is Rice. I just think the volume, and I don't love Rice, but I just think the volume is just better there. And it's not like Hampton volume where it's all really carries. You need that touchdown. Rice can get you some points in a half PPR. I think it would be Rice for me.
See, I kind of want to attack the Cowboys.
Okay.
I think I might just go with Hampton. Honestly, like it wouldn't shock me if things swing back towards him a little bit here.
Let me see what's the latest on Quinnen Williams. If Quinnen Williams, he's in concussion protocol. If Quinnen Williams doesn't play, I think this Kowalski defense is just a totally different unit and more like the one we saw at the beginning of the year. So if that's the case, I'll go Hampton. Otherwise, it's Rice. It's definitely not Ladd for me. I know that. I'm not going to put I want to
see Ladd having a big game too.
Of course. Ladd could at any point have a big game. He could also just not get targets like we've seen a lot this year and then ruin your week. Like, I don't want that in my life. At least I'm getting something from Rice and Hampton. All right. Eric. Ooh, this is the first one I hit, Jacob. The hard. I hate when I get to a name I don't know how to pronounce. I know I'm going to do a bad job of it, but I have to do it anyway. And this is Eric Frankowiak. That cannot be right. Frankowiak. Actually, he's so nice enough.
Frankowiak.
Oh, You know what that's from?
So like Down with the Sickness.
Yes, it is. It is Down with the Sickness. Oh, wow. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Eric, Franco Waka Waka. All right, Franco Waka Waka. Are you more, this is for Jacob actually, are you more Tootin or Bill on the hardwood?
What a question. So yeah, if y'all missed Tuesday's Beyond the Box Score, the chap didn't believe that I could jump, that I could play basketball, and I used to be pretty good at it. I thought about this question a lot. I'm going to go with I'm more Bayshall Tootin on the hardwood for whatever that's worth to y'all.
I like
I
that.
feel like the Tootin stuff is like he's got this insane athleticism and everything, but I think it's like maybe a vision problem or something, maybe like a one speed problem or something like that. You know what I mean? Where like it doesn't feel like he's quite getting what he should out of it. And I think that's kind of what I was in basketball. Is like I was just like going for it or I wasn't, you know, like I think I've seen some people where they play with much more grace. And that's a cool part of basketball for sure, is like the best players play that way, even if they're freak athletes. And that was never me. I think I'm more Tootin.
Okay. I like that. I am also not very good at basketball, but I went over this on a mailbag a couple episodes ago. I played in some leagues, some urban professional leagues when I lived in New York. And I actually got like, I'm okay at like mid-range jumpers and I play hard. It's like worth something too. I call myself a ninth man. Yes, Nonsense is Dan's middle name. Look, it's the mailbag show. Things go off the rails. This is the whole point. We're having fun. It's mailbag. It's not going to be the serious normal BTV. It's going to be, well, if you even deem that to be serious on a normal basis, but there's nothing normal about me. But yeah, we're gonna have a little fun. I've been wanting to do that the disturbed noise for a long time on a podcast. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I love that. I love that song and I love how that starts. And so you might get a System of a Down occasionally from me. I did that on a show a couple weeks ago on a mailbag. I like doing noises. All right. I prepared, here we go. Is this you who wrote this in, Jacob? I prepared some anime recommendations as my top 5.
Heyo, we finally arrived at the anime portion.
We arrived at the anime portion of this show. We have one more serious football question after this too, though. So we got to, and then we're going to hit the chat.
This is amazing. I've sat through 90 minutes of this so I could get to the anime. Okay. Yeah, Dan, I have 6 anime recommendations for you, 3 groups of 2 in terms of kind of like style, I guess. Okay. So the first one I would recommend, and anybody in the chat who knows what I'm talking about, all 3 of you, please chip in here with ideas. Death Note is the first one I'll recommend to you. Death Note is, you've got about, some people really don't like Death Note because the climax is in the middle and then it kind of like tapers off from there. So some people even say you only have to watch to the climax, which is, if you do that, it's only like 20 to 30 episodes if you want to do that. So it's a pretty quick watch, 20-ish minutes per episode, maybe 30. It is a thriller, psychological thriller, suspense, but not like it's not so much that you're scared. It's a battle between 2 minds. And so that I think you would just find that very interesting. And I think that you would find like the moral dilemma compelling. And it's weird. I think maybe the weirdness of anime might throw you off a little bit, but it would also be good to give you a taste of it because it's pretty prevalent throughout anime. It's just much different culturally. So there's just some stuff in there. If you haven't watched any anime, there's going to be...
Can I ask my ignorant questions as you break down? Because I have a lot of ignorant questions.
Yes.
Okay. Anime. Never given it a chance. I have watched stuff like I talked to you about Invincible, which I love, but that's just a cartoon. It's different than anime. And when you guys say like, oh, that's not anime, like the anime is different, I'll tell you what I think of in my mind when you say that, Jacob. This is my first ignorant question. I think of like my brother used to watch what I think is an anime show. And it was, what was that show that everybody loves with the Super Saiyans?
Dragon Ball Z, baby.
Dragon Ball Z. So he would watch Dragon Ball Z. And I'm just going to be honest. I was a kid. I was a much worse person than I am now. My brain needed to develop. It still needs to develop. And I made fun of him for watching that show. It was not my best moment. And parts I made fun of. So here's my first ignorant thing. Am I going to be watching a show where like they do like those close-ups and it's just like, you know what I'm talking about? In Dragon Ball Z, it's like a close-up of the guy. It's like, that's the part that I made fun of the most.
Anime is very manic. And Dragon Ball Z is definitely manic. Dragon Ball Z is made for kids and adults.
Okay.
And Death Note is not quite so much made for kids. So like there might be a little bit of that, you know. I would say in general, the culture is a little bit more manic leaning. But I mean, Tim Robinson's extremely manic, So like,
It
I
is.
think
Maybe my
that,
brain has changed.
yeah, I think that it won't be something that like really throws you off. Do you see this from Austin anime intro next season?
I'm laughing at Jared saying, I have no idea what is going on. This show has definitely gone off the rails. That's what the mailbag's for. Just letting you know. It's a mailbag show. Oh, someone says Big Mouth is great. That's not anime, right? I've seen Big
No.
Mouth. I love Big Mouth. Yeah. I need to get into anime, but I don't want to be hit with like those close-ups of the people and like just the weirdness of it might turn me off. But what you described was less that. What you described was more like plot, thriller.
Yes.
Stuff that I
The
like.
plot is extremely compelling. I think you would really like Death Note. So we
Death
got one
Note.
here from Elia. It's Attack on Titan. That was the other one that I had grouped with Death Note.
That's
Attack
one
on
someone has
Titan-
suggested me before. I've heard of that, not Death Note.
I think Attack on Titan would be interesting to you, and you would get really into the suspense and the drama and the story building and everything. Like, I think you would really love it. I will say it's longer and the stakes are extremely high, and to me, the end is not fulfilling at all. So
wow.
just point blank, like if you don't want to
Wow.
get into another Game of Thrones type situation,
Wow. I do not
Yeah.
want to do another Thrones type situation.
some people don't feel that way. Some people really liked the ending. Can't get behind that take. But I think that so I've got like myanimélist.com is a thing where you can track any anime that you've watched. People can look at it. If y'all are interested, I can put mine in the comments later. I only have a handful that are rated 10 out of 10, and you can do it season by season. And Attack on Titan's early seasons are some of the few that I have 10 out of 10. It's really that good. It's really worth getting into if you want to just be part of like this. There's a lot of people who've seen it, and if you want to just like text me and be like, oh my gosh, dude, this is the craziest crap I've ever seen. Like you will really enjoy the ride.
I like that.
At the end, you don't get to have very much fun.
That's interesting. I think the ride is worth, like, looking back. Yes, the Game of Thrones ended horrifically. Yes, they screwed everything up once they had to go off book, but I still think it was worth it for the ride because it was so good when it was good.
Yeah. Two completely different ones. If you enjoy the ride and aren't here so much for plot, it's not that the plot is bad. It's more so that, especially with this first one, which is Cowboy Bebop, the plot almost doesn't matter. There is a plot and there are consequences and everything, but to me, both of these are just about like the vibe. If you just want something that's like really cool to watch and just sit in, like I really love both of these, especially Cowboy Bebop. That's one of my absolute favorites.
Cowboy
Bebop. Cowboy Bebop is it's space cowboys. It's it's like a kind of post-apocalyptic kind of thing going on where everybody's out in space.
Oh yeah, that immediately that premise is better to me than anything we've heard.
The soundtrack is jazz and it's freaking awesome. The music is so good and the music syncs up to the fight scenes and everything, and it's really, really cool. The characters are really cool. It's just a good time. It's not, I like good short.
Time.
Yeah, it's short. And there's some plot episode to episode, but really you could just kind of watch any episode at any time, and I think you'd really enjoy it.
Okay.
The other one that's sort of similar is called Cyberpunk. It's more recent. By the way, Bebop was made in like the 80s or 90s. I can't remember. Cyberpunk was really good, was really popular when it came out. And it's a little bit more plot driven. And it's a similar type of apocalyptic kind of feel. It's way more fast tempo than Bebop. It's a very quick ride. And I think it would give you a lot of kind of like anime energy without being overwhelming. It's a pretty cool show.
Nice starter show to get myself into.
Yeah,
I have no idea about any anime or the world.
Cyberpunk, something in the chat says Cyberpunk hits hard, and I think that's basically how it is. Like, it hits hard. It can hit hard on an emotional level for you. It's just fast the whole time. It's very much just like a kind of cool grungy street type of vibe, just like growing up and just going all out, like it's pretty sweet. These last two are a little cheesy. I don't know if you would ever get into sports anime, but my brother loves sports anime and he's put me on it. And I'm like, Dan loves sports. Dan loves sports so much. He plays this crazy board game called Stratomatic.
It's a must play game for us. I need to meet up with you.
We're definitely
show you this game.
We're definitely gonna watch it. Somebody says Cyberpunk is like listening to Rage Against the Machine. Hell yeah.
I think we get on that.
Okay. I got two sports anime that you might like. One of them is about boxing. It's called Fighting Spirit. The other one, though, Slam Dunk. Slam Dunk is so freaking cool. Fighting Spirit is really popular and it's good. The Slam Dunk is basketball and it's literally exactly what it sounds like. It's from the 80s or 90s and it's got like that kind of like cartoon, like 80s, 90s vibe. If you're into that at all, the music and everything is kind of leaning into that, the animation too. But like the basketball scenes are hilarious and like in a good way. They're so intense and they're like strategic and they kind of take you through every character, every player, every character's like perspective as everything's going on,
Okay.
Including the opposing team and everything. So there's just like a bunch of layers that get built in and it's really, really fun. I would love it if there was something like this. Football, that's where I would start you at.
Yeah.
But I don't think they care about football much, honestly, in the anime world. So Slam Dunk is the next best thing. And I think you might really like Slam Dunk and think it's funny. And then it would kind of like get you where you're understanding anime a little bit, where like something that's really prevalent is like anime. There's often big fights. There's often these big epic moments or whatever. And during them, like it's all about like understanding all these cool powers and everything that different people have, like, or abilities or whatever, like, even if that's mental or whatever, like you just have all this depth to all the characters and what they can do and how it all interacts. And then it comes together in this big epic thing. It's kind of like The Wire or something where all of this stuff that's going on and how it all interacts, you know what I mean? And like, like as it's coming together, like what it's going to mean.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so like in these big moments, like it takes the time to like flesh out each person's perspective. And I think Slam Dunk would be like a more real life way of getting into that than like Dragon Ball Z or something like that. I love Dragon Ball Z, but I also get why somebody who doesn't know what's going on just comes in and is just screaming and like bright flashing lights and everything and close-ups on people's face and explosions.
Close-ups killed me, man. Those close-ups killed me. It did kill me. But I was also a bad person and a bad brother. And I feel bad for that. Maddie, I apologize to you for that. You were just trying to enjoy a show that you liked. All right, let's get back into some football stuff. And we're going to hit one more question from Twitter and then a bunch from the comments today. So get your questions in the chat now. How do you guys decide between starting guys like Lamar or Tyler Warren versus Jacoby Brissett and Parkinson? Oh, I see what he's saying. Do you trust the guys who got you there, or are you looking for the matchups?
Sorry, man. I used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should leave reference. They
said no sloppy steaks, but they can't stop you from ordering a steak with a big glass of water. All right.
You asked about the Warren Brissett Parkinson.
No, like
thing,
the
right?
idea of the question was like, how do you make your decisions in the fantasy playoffs? Is it the guys that got you there? And this goes back to like I'm just playing Lamar. I trust Lamar. Or is it the hot players now? Like, or is it the matchups? Like, how do you decide between? So, example was, how do you decide between a player like Lamar and Tyler Warren? They've gotten you there. Like, they had good points their season, but now like Jacoby Brissett, like Lamar versus Jacoby Brissett, for example, or Warren versus Kobe Parkinson.
I mean, I trust my gut and my head and everything, that my evaluation, like I go with conviction. So if you feel like Parkinson is better than Warren, I would be fine personally dropping Warren if that meant that you feel like you get a better start, or even Lamar if that's where you're at. But you have to then, of course, take into account like the ramifications of that. Like next week, do you feel like it's another good spot to go to whoever it is? And Brissett's case, he just did it again against Houston.
Yeah.
Again, we got 40 pass attempts. I was worried that maybe the offense would get shut down a little bit and the number would just kind of crawl back, because it's kind of hard to get to 40 pass attempts every game. To get to 40 pass attempts, you have to have the ball. You know what I mean? You have to you have to be sustaining drives over and over and over. But they did that even against Houston. And again, another 3 touchdown game, like another top 12 game. So
crazy against Houston too.
To me, it's like, I do have Lamar ranked higher this week, but if you feel better about Brissett, if you want to drop Lamar for Brissett, do what you got to do. That's where I'm at. I would not like cling to any like previous evaluations or be stuck on anything in terms of like consensus or what people say is right. Like, trust yourself and whatever sources you've decided to trust. Like, that is an extension of yourself. Whatever you think is right, go with it and don't have any regrets about it. Just like, that's where I'm at with it. I know it's tough to freaking drop Tyler Warren for Parkinson or whatever, but if you think he's going to outscore him, you need the points.
Yeah, to me, it ultimately will come down to the gut feel, but the gut feel will be based on everything that Jacob went over. And like a lot of the time for me, it just does come down to matchup and my feel, less so matchup. Like this team is 32nd against tight ends. Like that was the case with Cincinnati last week when we went on the show. On the Sunday pregame show, everyone kept asking us about Likely, and I kept saying bench Likely. And I was like, no, you start Likely. It's the Cincinnati Bengals are giving up the most points to tight ends, but that's not the feel I had for the game. The feel for the game and the game script and how I project that game to go from a yardage standpoint, from a scoring standpoint, from a defense standpoint is ultimately how I end up deciding. Which is why I'm definitely a little bit more reserved on Lamar this week. I probably ultimately will go with Lamar over my options, which are Dart and JJ McCarthy on my bench. I just picked up JJ, but ultimately it will come down to my feel for the game.
Yep. Elliot says, let's not pretend we're all hardened unks with these, these hardcore anime. Pokemon's still the GOAT.
Is Pokemon considered anime?
Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, yeah, those are anime and they're freaking awesome. Pokemon's anime is not that great, to be honest. It's
I've never
definitely
seen
for little kids.
I don't think I've ever seen Pokemon. I've just played Pokemon Red and Blue.
That's the way to go.
I don't think I've ever seen it. I wonder if I've ever seen an episode of Pokemon. I don't think I have. I'm interested by it, but I haven't because I love the game. I love playing the game. All right, let's get some questions from the chat. We'll start with Jazz.
We're on the Brissett note here.
Okay.
Would you go with May over Brissett? We're definitely both Brissett over Stafford, but would you go May?
I'm going May. I'm not benching May. I'm not benching May.
The Cardinals' implied total is pretty similar to the Patriots right now. As
I know.
crazy as that sounds.
Brissett, I'm open to, but I'm not going to bench May. He got me there. He runs for touchdowns. I'm not going to bench May. Let's go to the next one from the chat. It's Love Pie 1409. He says, I need to flex Lad McConkey, Michael Carter, Colby Parkinson, Kenneth Gainwell, or Michael Pittman. It's full PPR. Wow.
Gainwell.
It's either Gainwell or Carter for me, and I'm leaning
Kenneth Gainwell's running back 19 on the year.
You know what?
And it's been only better as the year's gone on. And he's in a projected shootout against the Lions where they might be playing from behind and will get even more targets, You
know what? You are 100% right. Let's go Kenneth Gainwell. All right, let's get to this next one here from Rasia Ryan. He says, 2 QB league. Jordan Love is my QB1 because Daniel Jones is done for the year. I need a QB2 for the semis. Is it Shuck? Is it Ward? Is it Sanders or is it Ewers? And he also says, I have to read this. 7 is a great movie, Dan. Rocky is too, but 7 is one of a kind. I think it's pretty glaringly obvious to those who know, and by those who know, I mean those who share the same opinion as me, that 7 is a better movie than Rocky. No offense to Rocky, probably one of the best sports movies of all time. I'll let you know once I watch it, but 7 is a unique movie with a unique plot and an amazing twist. I can't say the same for Rocky, despite never having seen it. All right. Are we going Shuck, Ward, Sanders, or Ewers?
Shuck, Ward, Sanders, Ewers. I'm going with Shuck. Also,
yeah, so I also could have picked up
Rocky's 8 movies.
Yeah, but I think 1. I have to see Rocky 1, and then we'll go from there. We'll debate.
Rocky 1's not even that good. It was made with no budget.
No, that's supposed to be the best one. You should never say that on
no,
there. I've been blasted for weeks for saying that.
It's good for what it is, but I think if you just go into it hoping that it's a good movie, you're gonna be bored.
We'll see. I mean, it remains. I do love sports movies. I'll probably, as I said on the show originally when this first came up, I will probably like Rocky. I also probably know for sure. I shouldn't say for sure. I'm very confident I'm not going to like it more than movies like 7 and Shawshank Redemption. And Adam said it was better than Goodfellas. 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 Did he say the word? Yes, he did. He somehow said Rocky was better than Goodfellas. As far as the quarterbacks go, I will also go with Shuck there. I don't love the options outside of that.
Dan, when you watch Rocky, look at it like getting punched is just the character development that inspires the arc we've got from the chat. That's cool. Actually anime for some of the recommendations I gave you. Do you care about, I know that you care about character development, but are you fine with a show where there's not really character development, where it's just funny or it's just cool and that's all it really is?
Yes.
Is there really that much character development in Seinfeld or Arrested Development or something like that?
Yeah, and those are 2 of my favorite comedies of all time, Arrested and Seinfeld. So yeah, I don't need it. Even for dramas, I don't always need it. I'm trying to think of a great drama I've watched that wasn't really based on character development. I'd have to think about that probably more. It might be more important. I love all the why am I blanking on the name? The series with the series about that started from the Minnesota movie with Billy Bob Thornton was in the first season. Why am I forgetting this name of this? Have you
I
seen
don't know
this
what you're
series?
talking about. No.
One word, based in Minnesota. Help me out, chat. Billy Bob Thornton was in the first season. It's amazing TV. Fargo. There it is. Thank you, Pop Soda. I love Fargo, and I don't feel like the characters would get that developed in Fargo. It's a quick hitting, like you get some character development, but not much. It's not really about that, in my opinion. So yeah, I don't need it.
If MHJ is back, Michael Wilson or Michael Carter?
Also, Emma said, I need to address this first. Emma said Fargo is not Minnesota. 100% correct. Fargo is North Dakota. But I feel like the movie, was that based in Fargo? It has to be, right? That's the name of the movie. Maybe the first season was based in Minnesota, though, of the TV show. I don't know how I'm getting this Minnesota connection. Though I do have a friend, shout out Todd, who is from Fargo, lives in Fargo, and roots for the Vikings. So there is some connection to Fargo and Minnesota. Yeah, the movie is set in Minnesota. Thank you, Emma. Thank you. Thank you very much. If MJ is back, from our boy, Ry Geezy, who is often in the chat and supports our show almost every episode, thank you so much. Am I going Michael Wilson or Michael Carter?
I mean, it's Michael Wilson for me, without a doubt. Like, you see this guy out here routing up Derek Stingley. I mean, each week I'm being more and more sold.
Yeah, I know. He is routing up Stingley. Who routes up Stingley? You're right. No, I'm going Michael Wilson too. It does kind of stink, though, that like when Harrison did come back, Wilson like reverted to his 3 for 36. Does definitely feel kind of nasty, but I'll play the player. As I said earlier in the show, he's one of 2 players this year who has 2 wide receiver 1 finishes on the year. That's phenomenal. That guy, that's the type of player who can win you your league.
Have you gotten the Cinderella Man recommendation a lot during this whole Rocky thing?
No.
Oh, really? I think you would like Cinderella Man. Russell Crowe. I think you would like it.
I do like Russell Crowe a lot. Okay. Gladiator is one of my favorite movies of all time. So I probably will like that. So, you know what? I got a lot to get to, but maybe one day. This I can't read this name, but he says Stafford or Herbert and Rico or Diggs. This is full PPR. Rico Dowdle we're talking about.
Yeah. Feeling pretty good about Herbert and the Chargers. Feeling somewhat optimistic. I thought they showed us something in this past week here against the Chiefs, and worried about the line, of course, but Dallas hasn't gotten as much pressure the past couple of games, and especially if Quinn Williams misses. It's pretty I'm going Stafford, even though it makes you a little bit nervous I'm going Herbert, sorry, even though it makes you a little nervous to go against Stafford.
I'm also going Herbert. And
Rico Dowdle over Stephon Diggs, even in full PPR?
No, I'm going Diggs.
I wish that we were seeing something from Diggs, because his role has not really changed at all.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I'm going with Rico. I don't feel it with Diggs.
Yeah,
that sucks.
I respect it. I do. Full PPR is the reason it tipped me over the scale for Diggs.
Does Dan play Dynasty? A little bit, but not really, right? Okay, a little bit.
No, too much. Okay, here's my Dynasty. I play Bake Burger. That's Adam's league that he started. I play Heath's league that he started this year. It's a Dynasty Superflex. I have a home league Dynasty league. I have a separate friends group Dynasty league. So that's 4.
Yeah,
I'm in YOLO because I had to overtake a team there, which it didn't. It is what it is. That's 5, and that team is impossible to revive. It feels like. And then I think that's it. So I'm in one more that I don't really want to be in. So here's my problem. I'm not a good Dynasty player. I'll tell you why, Jacob. I'm just not. I have these like really, even though I'm doing well in a lot of these leagues, I'm in the semis of 3 leagues right now in Dynasty, but I'm still not a good player because I don't grind the waiver wire through a season. I just like something is wrong in my brain and I'm not like interested in like grinding, but like this is how you get Gadsden. This is how you get like these key players that I need on my roster. So my teams are always the same. It's like I have good value picks and it looks good in the starting lineup. And then my bench is just terrible compared. It's all just like whoever I draft in my rookie draft. I almost never trade my picks, which is not good. I tried tanking in one league. I think after doing that, Jacob, I think tanking is the most overrated thing you can do in Dynasty. I stand by that. I think in Dynasty, you should be always playing for the now at all times. All the teams I've evaluated through like my last 5 years playing in my one home league of Dynasty, the teams that tanked are all awful still and are going to take so long to get good. And we don't know if we'll ever get there. And the teams that just kept trading for the now are just always in the finals, always in the semis. And like maybe one day it'll run out, but like it's kind of like the NFL when you kick the salary cap can. I'll just keep kicking the can and I'll just win. And like eventually like I'll bottom out. But like the teams that chose actively to bottom out, like I did to tank for Caleb Williams 2 years ago, it stinks. Like we traded all our things away and we got these picks, these second and third round picks that stink. Like, you know what I mean? Like it just doesn't work out that way, the way you expect it to. I think it's very overrated, tanking in Dynasty.
Yeah. Well, is now the ultimate Genty buy window is a question that's maybe sort of
I don't think
related.
so.
I feel like if you're on a tanking team, Genty's a great buy.
I
Maybe.
think he'll be a better buy after next year. I think it'll be one more nasty year for him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean, if
think
there's
right
another
now
nasty
people who have
year, you can get
Genty
him.
aren't going to want to sell low. Do you kind of agree with that? They're not going to bite.
I've got a team where I had Genty and I wanted to compete. I was right on the line and I was just sick of it, you know. So I was willing to trade him away. I think I got a really good haul, but yeah, otherwise I don't think you're really getting him still is kind of the sentiment around Genty.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Exactly. I don't think we're ready for that yet.
Dan, during the tennis match, your brother mentioned something along the lines of Dan went through a period of not believing in sunblock. Would you please explain?
Oh my God. A few things about this.
Your brother coming on the tennis match was so epic.
It was epic. It really
Both
was.
brothers, yours and Adam Ace's, both brothers were
And my brother
amazing appearances.
desperately wants to do two things. One, play Adam in singles tennis because he just started playing like a lot. My brother in tennis, he like quit his obsession with golf and moved it all to tennis. And I've said to him multiple times, if he doesn't like that, I do think Adam would still beat him. Now he's getting better. I don't know. But we also might do a brothers match, me and my brother versus Adam and his brother in tennis doubles, which would be awesome. Now, as far as some of the things he said on that stream, which were this one I remember. Okay. So the period of my life where I didn't believe in sunblock. It's not that I didn't believe in sunblock. I want to make that clear to both the listeners. And I love that this was like, I love that Rack Diesel like remembers this from that stream. It's that, okay, let me try to say this without being a conspiracy theorist, that I don't necessarily believe in the chemical version of sunblock. I use the mineral version of sunblock. So there's two versions of sunblock. Obviously, I'm sure people know this. So I just don't want to put all those chemicals on my skin. I just don't necessarily believe that it's definitely the right way. I don't believe in a lot of things that like people say is definitely right. I'm a very big skeptic. Okay. And that's been a problem for me with a lot of these things, but I do know that you can't just like rock out in the sun because people do get skin cancer. I want to make it clear. I'm not saying this is not real or anything like that. So I use the mineral sunscreen now. For a while, I didn't use any sunscreen and I just kind of like idiotically just went out in the sun, which I don't think is a good idea either.
You can find good sunscreens. I'm going to give you all a good recommendation. It's called Yuka.
Okay.
Yuka. It's an app, and it helps you find food that has harmful additives and stuff like that in it, and then it also can be used for healthcare products.
That's so funny that I can't believe that question got brought up. I can't believe that was just remembered. That's amazing.
Dan, is the earth round or flat?
No. I am not a flat earther. I don't believe in those kind of conspiracies.
This one cracked me up. Dan abbreviates everything, and then I hear him say Google document instead of Google Doc like everybody else. Dan's
awesome.
not like everybody else, all right?
No, I am a weird human being. Dan studied biology at Wisconsin. Meanwhile, he thinks Fargo's in Minnesota. No, I said the movie was based in Minnesota, which I was actually confirmed to be true on after the fact. All right. We are going to get back to a question here. Pick two. Mr. Carter, Michael Carter, Jaden Reed, or Zay Flowers in half PPR.
Probably Flowers and Carter.
Yeah, it's half PPR. I just can't bench Carter in half PPR out of these three. I just know I'm getting volume there. I have to bank on the other one. So I'm going to go Carter and Flowers.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. That's basically where I'm at with it.
Mike B says, great pod to find advice on sunscreen randomly. Thanks. Yeah, that is. I didn't know we were going to do a sunscreen segment on this show. Can't believe that was.
I think it's been a lot more interesting and fun to take the meandering path here rather than just be like, oh yeah, I would start Zay Flowers over Michael Carter. Like, okay,
well, it's a mailbag. They're bound to get wacky. That's kind of the point of these mailbag shows. Now, with that said, Christian Pleta, shout out Christian. He's in the chat a lot. Big supporter of the show. Says, are we sure DeMarcado doesn't randomly step into more of a role? No, we're not sure of that. I picked the wrong one. No, we're not sure of that. But it's a good point when I say something like, oh, I can bank on the volume. You can't really bank on anything at this point. It feels like in fantasy outside of a few players, but I could feel strongly like I'm going to get more volume. Oh, this is a
Jane
good
Reed, Jane Reed or Jordan Addison?
one.
Did you have a good one? Sorry, I didn't mean to throw this
But
up.
we'll
If you
do
had a
this
good
one first. I'll go Reed.
Addison against the Giants. Jane Reed?
Yeah, that's a great matchup, but I'm still going to go Reed. Johnny Airport, what is Jacob's favorite sandwich? Yeah, what is your favorite sandwich? You know I got a lot of takes on this.
Yeah, there's a sandwich shop in Kansas City that's freaking phenomenal called Bay Boy. And they have a sandwich out that I've been obsessed with. It's called Blue Blaze, and so it's got blueberry jam and it's got jalapenos on it. And it's just like a Thanksgiving kind of sandwich. It's got turkey and sun-dried tomatoes and stuff like that, spinach. Ooh. Yeah, it's really good. I like the sweet and the spicy.
I love that. So it's called, what is it called? Blue Bay?
Blue Blaze.
Blue Blaze. I'm looking through their menu right now. It's handcrafted blueberry jam, turkey, white cheddar, hot cherry peppers, which are great on anything. Yeah. Arugula and
you got Bay Boy up right now?
Oh, I got Bay Boy up right now.
Bay Boy is sweet. Yeah, they came over from the Bay, from San Fran and everything, and just randomly popped up in Kansas City, and they're killing it.
Honestly, there's a second Bay Boy option. There's two. Oh no, that's Blue Blaze. There's the Bay Boy, which I think looks the best, actually. Superseta salami, mayo, mustard, our house-made garlic sauce, red pepper sauce, homemade from hot cherry peppers and banana peppers, lettuce, tomato, red onion. Yeah. This place slaps.
Everything there is fire.
Spicy Jambalaya says, is a burger considered a sandwich?
Burger's a burger. Hot dog's a hot dog. You can call it a sandwich if you want. I don't care.
I also don't care. Yeah, I've never cared about this debate. No, I just don't care. Okay, oh, is it a sandwich? Is it not a sandwich? No, I don't care. I don't care. No. Let's see what else we got here.
Did you have a take on Jane Reed or Jordan Addison?
I said Reed.
Reed. All right.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. He knows his Giants defense, and normally he chooses anybody against his Giants defense. I was surprised it wasn't Addison. I'll go with Reed.
Let's try to hit a couple more. And let's keep this under the 2 mark. All right. With Tua being benched, this is from Brandon. With Tua being benched, how do you feel about Waller? Fannin over Waller? I'm going up against Achane this week.
Fannin over Waller. I think Dan's maybe a little more optimistic about Waller, but I could see it being a good fit with a rookie.
I'm still
definitely Fannin for me.
No, we're Fannin guys on this show, so I would go Fannin as well. See if we get one or two more in here. Let's see. I'm scrolling up. Dan makes homemade deodorant with organic honey and oats. I should make homemade deodorant because I don't want that aluminum on my body. Not that I know if that is real or not. You just watch one video and get convinced by things. That's how my dumb brain works. All right. Christian Paletta, very much looking forward to 2026 draft stuff. This is so true, Christian. I am so excited about first season of the show. We started up kind of late, not late, but like in the summer. And so we did
it was like July is when we got our first episodes in. That was pretty
deep
late.
Summer. And so we got to prep for the season. But I think where we're really going to stand out is on the rookies, grinding the tape on them, coming together, using the data and analytics. So I'm really excited to do 2026 rookies for you guys. That sounded weird, but to evaluate 2026 rookies for you guys and provide our opinions on those players. I think we're going to really stand out. And not just from a dynasty standpoint, but from like an overall redraft standpoint as well.
Dan, I've actually never played in a league that has last place punishments. You think I'm soft?
Yes, you are. I will say this about last place punishments. It's really annoying. We've tried to put some in place. So one of them was in one league, last place has to do the NFL, like every drill in the NFL combine and tape it for us. The player just quit the league. And so like he never did his last place punishment. He just quit. It's like so lame. And what are we going to do?
That's one way to do it.
It's just got to chase him down. So that stunk.
That's amazing. He's like, actually, friendship's over.
He's just done. That stunk. And then my home league, like the last place punishment we wanted to put in place for this year was the 9-9-9, which is like 9 hot dogs, 9 beers in 9 innings of a baseball game. But we converted it because we're all golfers to the 9-9-18, which is 9 hot dogs, 9 beers over a round of golf. And so my one friend who was last place last year wanted to do it last year. It was kind of on us. We needed to help him organize the date for it and like make it a whole fun thing. And, some of us be there for it. So I like last place punishments in theory, but I think oftentimes more than not, they just don't work out. I can tell you the worst one I've heard by far, the most egregious one. And this actually happened in a friend of mine's league. Their last place punishment, think how bad this would be, is everyone in the league chips in for the least expensive but longest massively multi-connection flight where you are connecting, sitting and waiting. And then it's a 24-hour day where you circle back to your original home spot through 24 hours of connecting flights. It's like literally the worst punishment you can put someone through, I think.
This is first time watcher like today? I'll be able to
not a good show. The first time watching on the podcast.
This is a great show.
We have fantasy knowledge for you, but we also have some weird stuff going on. And this is a mailbag pod, so things get off the rails.
I can do this, Dan. You definitely don't have to if you don't want to. It says, speak to your college degrees that led you to this profession. How did you get here, Dan? How did you get to this day today?
That's a great question.
For me, you good with it?
Let's hear yours first. No, I actually love this question. I've said it before a lot.
My degree was in recreational administration. I thought maybe I would work in parks and rec. Coming out of college, I managed a fitness center. I used to be into like powerlifting and stuff like that. So that's what I did. I had to take lifeguard training. No, lifeguard. I had to take a class where I learned to teach people how to be lifeguards.
Okay.
As part of my degree. It was random crap that I had to do. I was doing PE classes and stuff like that. But I also had to take kinesiology. I had to take all sorts of just like random freaking crap for this degree. And here we are.
That's so crazy. But how did you get it? Like, how was your, like, let's talk about your first break. Cause obviously like that was a very truncated version. It's like, I did this and then here we are. I have a here we are story. Do you have a here we are story? Like how you got
sure.
That?
I did freelancing while I was in college. I tried to just like build a Twitter following and stuff in college, and just would share my work with anybody who would read it. Eventually I got an opportunity to work at Number Fire with JJ Zachariason, who's like lay round QB. He does really great stuff. That was like sponsored by FanDuel. So that was like a semi-legit, like a real company. You know what I mean? That was the first time I was like doing something that was not just like contracted work for something totally random. And I learned a lot there. They were really good people over there. JJ does a great job, hands-on, really wants to help you grow. And I love everybody that's come out of Number Fire. Like Scott Barrett is a Number Fire guy, you know, Scott, obviously from Fantasy Points Data. So I was there finishing out college. I was with Number Fire. And then even after college for a year or two when I was managing the gym. And then I don't remember exactly when, I think maybe a year or two before I started at CBS, my sister was like, do you know that Sarah Cummings, who is her teacher, is married to this guy named Heath, who does what you want to do. He does this like fantasy, he does like football analysis. He does fantasy sports. And I'm like, no, I don't know.
I did not know
this
your
guy.
connection like that.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know this guy. And she's like, yeah. And my sister and Sarah Cummings, they really got along. I think Liz was out of high school, or so they were like even kind of friends as adults. And she's like, yeah, like you should reach out to him. So I emailed Heath and was like, I don't know you, so I don't want anything from you, of course, but like my sister knows your wife, and I looked into your stuff, and I think it's cool like that you're able to make a career out of this. So like I am like curious how to do it, and if you ever wanted to read any of my work, like here it is, but no worries. And I'm pretty sure he liked it, and he was just like, it's just really long. He's like, it's like really good stuff. It's just really long. And awesome. I was like, yeah, for sure. But then Heath knew about me. I was on Heath's radar. And so he probably followed me on Twitter or something and knew that I was working hard. And then a couple years later, Larry Hartstein gives me a call randomly one night while I'm at the gym, literally out of the blue. That's just awesome. Like get a call from a number, and he's like, hey, would you be interested in like maybe doing some work like at CBS Sports? And I'm like, what? What the hell are you talking about? Awesome. Yeah. And so they had just bought a website, and I managed the website. And it was like I was doing everything there. I was like editing work and stuff. Like we had like contracted workers who would send articles in. And so I like planned what we would do. I would edit all of that. And then I was writing my own stuff. And I was like managing the layout of the website and doing like SEO stuff, all the titles and everything, trying to get everything where it looked good, and just like trying to manage the website and make sure that we kind of kept it afloat and the people that were subscribers were happy. It was Scout Fantasy. And it was pretty cool. It was fun doing that, and we did a good job of that. And then I went to Sportsline, and that was when it was like full time.
Yeah, Sportsline is when it really took off for you. I feel
yeah,
like
this is like the 6th or 7th year doing the NFL stuff full time.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome, and you've obviously evolved at an insane level, both from your own personal brand, which everyone knows, and you can see you've done a really strong job building on Twitter, and then here with Beyond the Box Score, the newsletter. So it's been impressive to see. Obviously, from my end, I'm a big proponent of you, always have been, and it's cool to do a show with you. For me, I went into college. So like from a very young age, I always loved writing, and it was like what my teacher would say about me. I could do a great job with it. But I went to college at Wisconsin at Madison for a number of reasons. My dad went there. We visited during the spring, and it was a beautiful day out. And I was like, I'd never want to go anywhere else. Like, this is the campus for me. But also because they had a good journalism school. But when I went to it, there are two sides to the matter, or at least when I went there were two sides to the Wisconsin journalism school. There was the broadcast and then broadcast journalism side, and then there was the advertising side. And it was a time in the world, like when I went to college, where I guess like a lot of people's parents were hearing about it, listening to stuff. They were just like, journalism's dying, journalism's dead, like don't do it. So my parents like not like convinced me, but like played a role, and it's partly on me too, of like going the other route. So I went the advertising route. And so I go that route. I do a ton of advertising marketing type stuff in college, get my degree, come out of college, and my first job is in the city with a video advertising company. I'm doing that, Jacob, for like a year and a half. Just going to be very honest about it. I hated that job with a passion. I had a really bad boss who was a really mean person, not a good human being. I'm just going to leave it at that. And I felt like the job had nothing tangible to it. So like some of the stuff we would do is like go to a big like advertising company and set up like our branded grilled cheese with our brand name on it, and here's tomato soup. And like, it's just like, this is, I guess, how you get the deals done and stuff like that. But like, it just wasn't for me. So I was living at my parents' house in New Jersey, commuting every day to the city at that time, this nasty, awful commute back and forth to do a job I hated. And one day I'm just looking at myself in the mirror, and I was really at the breaking point of like wanting to quit. But I had no other options at that point. It was my job. I was right out of college. This is what I was supposed to be doing, right? I studied advertising. And on Twitter one night during this period of my life, and this was 2012 range, 2012. So Twitter was nothing back then. I think people have to like the difference between Twitter now and then. There were like a few thousand people on Twitter. Fantasy Twitter was absolutely nothing at the time. And
you said 2012?
2012.
Yeah, I didn't even get on Twitter until 2015.
Most people didn't even do anything on Twitter. I was just on it early for fantasy and because I love football. And RIP, shout out Chris Wessling, who used to run Roto World. This is how far back this was. This is when Wessling ran, and unfortunately he died. He passed away from cancer, which is really sad, and he was the man. But it was so far back that he was running Roto World. This is before he went to NFL.com. He tweeted out something, and I was lucky enough to be on Twitter at that moment. He just said, wow, it was like he was frustrated. He was like, the Roto World Twitter account is so mismanaged. I can't believe how poorly managed this Twitter account is. And so I went to LinkedIn. I don't know how I did. I think maybe through LinkedIn or something. I found his email, and I emailed Chris and I said, hey man, you don't know me at all. I love fantasy football. I love your work. I'll run this account for free. I just want an opportunity. And he gave me that opportunity. He let me run the Roto World Twitter account for free. Started running the Roto World Twitter account for free. Through that, I made connections. I met Mike Clay, who at the time, Mike Clay, now he's ESPN. At the time, Mike Clay was running Pro Football Focus Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Clay gave me a shot. I said, I'm running the account, and then I get into some leagues with them or something. He's like, Chris is like, hey, join this league. And Mike's in it. Hey, Mike, I want to write about fantasy football. I'll do it for free. Can I get an opportunity at Pro Football Focus? He said, okay, send me something, blah, blah, blah. He liked it, and he gave me an opportunity. So now I'm writing for Pro Football Focus. That was the first real breakthrough I had under Mike Clay, and then Jeff Ratcliffe, who was also
Yeah.
my former boss, man. And I love seeing Jeff. Now, every time I see Jeff at like the fantasy conference that I went to, the FSTA conference I went to earlier this year, it's just cool to see him as he remembers me. And it's just, we've taken such divergent paths in our careers away from PFF, but starting through PFF. So then I was at PFF, and through PFF, I was able to leverage that into an opportunity at Fox Sports. And that's where I first started writing about the NFL at Fox Sports. Through that, I got an opportunity at 24/7 Sports, where I covered the Giants, and 24/7 Sports merged with CBS Sports. And I moved over, and Adi gave me an opportunity in the NFL team. And then shout out to Adi, because he saw my passion for fantasy. He understood this is where I needed to be at this company. And I moved. The biggest change for my career was moving over from the NFL side at CBS Sports, where I was an editor, to the fantasy side, which has given me the opportunity to do all of this. So that's been my journey. It could have never happened if I wasn't on Twitter that night and saw Chris Wessling tweet that. This would have never happened. I don't know what I would be doing right now. I certainly wouldn't be doing that video advertising job in the city with that mean, awful boss that I will always remember. Just a horrible human being. And it's had such an impact on me that, Jacob, I'll know this for the rest of my life. And I manage a few people now here at CBS. I will never treat any coworker the way that person treated me. And it was a very important life lesson, just to, no matter what, like, obviously he was, I'm sure, like, just frustrated with me not picking up like what he wanted me to do or whatever it was. I was just out of college, though. Like, it was like, it's just not a good way to treat people. And I don't think it's a good way to get someone to be doing what you want. For example, like, if someone's not doing the job you want them to do, that's not the way to get them to do it, by being passive aggressive and mean to them. But anyway, that's my journey. Here I am. And now we're doing a take. And this was a long answer. That was a good question, though. I like answering that question. It's maybe one we can end on, unless we want to throw one more out there. But let's do one more fantasy one.
Yeah, that was a good one, and it seemed like people really enjoyed it. Okay, definitely the lore episode is what they said, and that's basically what it was. That was cool. I didn't know you like had the PFF background. I didn't know that at all,
that's why
or like you ran the Roto World account or any of that. Like, that's pretty interesting stuff. So even I got to learn more about my guy Dan today. That's pretty fun. Thanks for the question.
All right. Let's do one more fantasy question. Somebody throw out a fantasy question right now in the chat, and we will answer it because this chat doesn't have a lot. All right, let's go. Here we go. We'll end it on this one that we've been asked a lot, but we're going to have to do it one more time because we have a definitive answer for all you people in tough spots at tight end. The Duke of Wax wants to know, Tyler Warren, Dalton Schultz, or Kobe Parkinson. Where are you going with this, Jacob?
I think I'm going Parkinson. Don't love it. I think Schultz is sort of similar, but we've got like more hypothetical red zone target equity type stuff going on for Parkinson, where he really could get another 2 touchdown type of game. Yeah, don't love any of these options, to be honest.
No, I don't either, but I'll go Parkinson. Let's do rapid fire now for the rest of whatever's people put in chat. I don't want any explanation, just an answer. Okay, Evans or Michael Wilson?
Michael Wilson if MHJ doesn't play. Evans if he does.
Evans no matter what for me. I love Evans. Monty or Hunt?
Monty.
Good. That actually too much talk. I said one. Don't even give any explanation. I broke my own rule. Monty. Kincaid or Parkinson?
Kincaid.
Yeah, Kincaid. Hendo, Chase Brown, T. Higgins, Mike, and Evans. I don't know what. I'm just going to hope that was just Mike and Evans and a typo, and you were typing on your phone. So, Travion Henderson, Chase Brown. It's Hendo for you.
Good luck.
Wow. If it's PPR, it's Evans or Higgins for me. If it's non-PPR, Henderson.
It's Hendo league winning season. Flag has been planted.
Parkinson or Fannin? We'll both go Fannin. Pacheco is on waivers. Do I pick him up? Go check out our episode from earlier this week. Yesterday, Jacob did a nice little review of Pacheco. I think the idea is if you're in a tough spot, he's not the worst play you can put out there. Brissett or Burrow? I'm going Burrow.
Yep.
Jalen Warren or Michael Carter? I'm going Michael Carter.
All right.
Yeah, doesn't feel
Don't
great.
feel good about either of those past two.
Nope. He needs this is a vomit doodle. He needs, I don't even know what that, you doodle over a vomit. I don't know. He needs one running back, one flex. It's Dowdle, Henry, Swift, Egbuka, A.D. Mitchell, or Jordan Addison. And I am just going to quickly say Henry and Swift.
Works for me.
Okay. T. Higgins or Swift in full PPR?
Swift.
Don't love it.
It's tough.
Don't love it. What I mean is, I like both plays. I don't know which one I want to get rid of in my lineup. I'm going to go Higgins if he plays, just for its full PPR.
Getting a ton of questions. I honestly assumed everyone was asleep.
Yeah, me too. So we're just going to answer
crazy.
one final question, and that's it. It's Chris Boing. He says, A.J. Brown or George Pickens?
What a question to end on. A.J. Brown.
Yeah, A.J. Brown for me. All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into a wacky mailbag podcast that went longer than I expected, but we had a good time. Hopefully, you had a good time, too. Really appreciate you supporting the show. If you haven't already, you need to hit the like button. We need likes. So hover your hand over that mouse, like I like to say, do. Click like. You did it. You liked it. I unfortunately put a question up by mistake there. I meant to just hit the like button, which I can't do personally because I am an admin. Hit the like button, leave comments, support the show by rating and reviewing on Spotify and iTunes, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon.